It was back. December 26th, 1980.
200s.
80 U.S. Air Force personnel allegedly witnessed an unknown bright object land in Rd2 Forest, England.
Not just had this UFO been seen by these trained, reliable military witnesses, but it had left physical trace evidence. It had left indentations in the ground where it had come down.
On the following night, a squad of soldiers surveys the area with a Geiger counter and detect abnormally high traces of radiation.
What kind of range we got, anything? 710, sir. 710's right here in the center?
The most significant development in terms of the evidence was that they recorded levels which peaked. They peaked in those three holes where the thing had come to rest.
The Ministry of Defense released 38 pages of documents relating to the Rd2 sighting. Most of the file is correspondence to and from residents curious about the reported event. But one interdepartmental memo contains a chilling sentence.
Our defense intelligence staff subsequently assessed the levels of radiation as, quote, significantly higher than...
You guys need to get out that barn.
It is absolutely official. It's there in black and white in a military defense document written by their scientific and technical intelligence specialists, yes. Unlike many UFO stories, this can be backed up as an audit.
I don't know why you act like we can't handle it. Oh, fucking damn, this shit just started.
Nick Pope gave us
okay,
information about documentation that we didn't even know existed. And that makes it all the more valid to me. It's really taken this investigation to...
On top of that, this whole fucking week I haven't been in the mood to fight. So I'm not gonna be in the mood to fight.
Long secret histories of UFO encounters.
There are many hundreds of cases of encounters between military aircraft...
It's fucking cold at the moment.
The team tries to find an explanation for these disturbing sightings.
I'm going over some of these archival materials here, and I'm finding out that there's a pretty strong correlation between the military and UFO sightings. In July 1945, we actually detonated...
Why would you crouch, you fucking idiot?
In July, we have the Roswell crash.
I never even pressed that fucking crouch button.
100 miles away from Alamogordo?
Ever since
Fucking dipshit, man.
there has been a correlation between possible UFO sightings and the testing, manufacturing, and storage of nuclear weapons. Is it only a coincidence?
You know why I'm fucked up right now, Ethan? Because you guys are making me play different fucking games where I'm more used to with other controllers. And now I'm fucked up completely with my fucking controllers right now.
1945, a UFO was...
That's why, dude.
At a naval air station. It was flying over Hanford Engineering Works, which is a major manufacturer of plutonium. That's right, and Hanford later became a major nuclear power facility, so the nuclear power...
No, it's because I'm over pressing other fucking buttons, assuming other fucking buttons of different games.
The National Laboratory in Tennessee experienced numerous UFO sightings. We now know the lab was a top-secret atomic bomb plant. In 1965, Edwards Air Force Base spotted 12 luminous UFOs on radar.
Come on, bitch.
We have an object now. We have confirmed reports of unidentified flying objects in your area. Unidentified flying saucers? They have been confirmed on radar.
F-106 interceptors made visual contact.
I have another red light moving very rapidly.
Come on, pussies.
The F-106 jets carried nuclear-tipped rockets with its weaponry. Did this nuclear technology trigger a UFO?
That's why I gotta shoot through the rock.
UFOs and nuclear weapons. I mean, what do you think is going on? Are they spying on the technology? Are they interested in nuclear technology? Or maybe they're trying to prevent nuclear technology? I think they are monitoring us. I think they are spying on us. But the big point is this. Every time you see UFOs that are invading the airspace over nuclear weapons facilities that are highly sensitive military installations, they don't even bother to be stealthy. These nuclear nuclear weapon sites, they don't even care if they're being seen or not.
It's strange to be back here. This was the hot row here, where weapons were stored in the ATF fire team facility down there.
Colonel Halt served as Deputy Base Commander at Bentwaters during the UFO sighting at Rendlesham Forest. He will neither confirm nor deny the presence of nuclear weapons on the base.
You have to imagine, he's the guy who was sitting with his finger on a nuclear button, even though he can't say it, because you can't talk about American nuclear weapons on UK soil.
A key security component of the base is the watchtower, located just to the north of the hospital. It provides a view of the entire area and Rendlesham Forest site. The team meets Gary Heseltine, a former Air Force policeman with experience in securing nuclear sites.
I've long been fascinated by the Rendlesham Forest base because between 1983 and 1989 I served in the Royal Air Force as a police officer, and on 2 nuclear facilities you always had a high tower. The significance of the tower was that it was above the tree line and it had a 360 view.
You gotta give me a minute, I'm in a fight.
Oh, this is unbelievable world view. You can see everything from the field.
And one thing you have to keep in mind, the trees are much higher now. We had a 360 panorama from up here before. We've never let the trees spread this high for security reasons. And from here, the tower operator had a fantastic view of everything for miles around.
So if somebody were up here, you could see everything that was going on over in that area that night. On both nights.
There was somebody up here. This type of tower will have to be 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. So, Colonel, I suspect that there was somebody up here. Have you any knowledge of anybody up here? Oh, yes. In fact, I know who was up here very well.
In November 2007, Colonel Halt received an email from one of the guards who was posted in the observation tower that night in 1980.
He has given me quite a bit of correspondence, and he verifies the fact.
All because Ethan wanna say, fucking invite this motherfucker. He fucked me up with that shit. I'm not inviting them. Till I'm fucking away from these flags, I'm not, because he just got me killed because I'm trying to fucking invite them. Because I have to kick people out of my pose, he has to do a lot of shit just to get it ready.
There's a whole new witness to this entire case.
Well, he doesn't really want to come forward.
If a person were up here, as you've said, and could see the whole thing, including the White House and the events on the ground and the forest.
We're talking about a genuine object.
Right.
Firing beams down into a special facility, a highly secure area.
So we have a whole new witness that breaks this case wide open again.
Dope.
Another piece of evidence also corroborates the alleged UFO incident.
I never unadded them. Actually, what are you talking about? I got a whole new account where they're on the other account of Mrs. account. So what are you talking about? I never unadded them.
Moment by moment, and has become one of the most compelling documents in UFO history.
Yeah, give me a minute.
We don't know, sir.
The team retraces the steps of Colonel Halt's UFO encounter that night.
This is the infamous East Gate, Woodbridge. This is where the event actually started.
How that bitch wanna fucking die?
With 5 searches
Took so much fucking shots.
told by the other police officers that the mysterious light had been spotted a second time.
The police claim
If I fucking die, I'm gonna be pissed off because I'm trying to invite them. I'm gonna die for a second time if they kill me.
frame of mind. I thought there was a rational explanation for this. I guess I was a non-believer, is the best way to put it. What happened when you came out to investigate? Somebody had to go out and respond to put this to rest. And it was my intention to go out there and just put it all to rest.
Who? I don't know who's the other person.
What I expected.
Yeah, I only see Turtle.
You know, when I got out there, I thought, why did I ever get involved in this? Somebody should have done this. I wish I'd let somebody else do this, because nobody will believe this. So I gathered up a small team, 5 people, and went out into the forest.
Where did it get? That's strange. Where the light? So here he comes from the south. He's coming toward us now.
I don't give a fuck.
Colonel Charles Charles Halt, an American service.
Just don't care, really, dude.
Recounts the night he chased down what he believes was a UFO.
Did you do anything to document the sighting on the night?
Yes, I actually have my little in-ear portable.
I only invited Turtle, that's who I'm only inviting.
As something was occurring, I documented everything on the tape.
Strange red light. Very strange. Yeah, strange.
Holt claims that he led a team of soldiers from the east gate of RAF Bentwaters. They then spotted the bright object in Rendlesham Forest and reportedly chased
Tell me, buddy.
heading east. When they reached a farmhouse in the field, the object launched into the skies.
We were moving in this direction, as was the object I saw moving through the trees.
Okay, looking at the thing, probably about 200 to 300 yards away. Winking at you.
But she accidentally slapped me. I can't tell who is this who. Is that the people that...
Halt reports
Let's
that
see.
the boat moved past a creek into a nearby field.
I don't know. Yeah, they press partly. They press partly.
We come out of the forest up here about another 100 yards, chasing the object. The object came out in the middle of this field.
The field contained a farmhouse, cattle, and, at that time, a bright moving object.
Very strange sounds out of the farmer's barnyard.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, very, very active, making a lot of noise. Here he comes from the front. He's coming toward us now.
And we're looking out this way, obviously.
Okay.
They accidentally hit me.
The object was out here in the field.
Yeah.
The lighthouse is over there, about 30 degrees.
Observing what appears to be a beam coming out of the ground.
Yeah. You're fine. Luckily, they pressed partly.
It silently exploded into 5 white objects, and they just disappeared.
Alright.
Is there any way this could have been...
Fuck, I'm gonna send them a friend request. Skullgirl on them. They're decent high ranks.
Down a little bit. It came toward us at some point. It went away from us at some point. And when we approached it, it flew back here into the field.
Now, what exactly are you seeing?
An object that was oval shaped, bright reddish orange, almost like the sun at midday. It had a black oval center. It would wink a little bit. It was dripping something like molten metal.
It was molten metal.
Well, I say that's the only way I can equate it. It was something was dripping from here off.
The helicopter explanation was that.
No, it wasn't a helicopter.
Colonel Halt is one of the most credible eyewitnesses that I've ever had the chance to talk to. This man ran an entire military base with a lot of top secret weapons that he couldn't tell me about. And I don't think he made a mistake that night.
Yeah, do it if you want.
It happened that people weren't meant to know about.
These two bases, adjacent to the forest, were among the most secure in the world. Impenetrable fences encircled the bases, razor wire, motion detectors, embedded sensors, and more than 25 heavily armed patrolmen guard the facilities.
This was a facility with some of the tightest security in the world.
Train clerk.
This thing comes out of the
Where's
sky,
that?
It lands there not once, but twice in a 24-hour period without triggering any sort of alarm.
Let's see if that works, if she's right.
Was by the human eye when these guards...
Let me clean my guns real quick.
Is that this thing was brilliantly lit. It's shown beams down to the ground. It's almost as if it didn't even care if it was seen or not. It's almost as though it could care less about how we would defend ourselves against it. There's nothing we had that this thing was scared of. And for me, that's the scariest thing of all.
She tried the Lamont's.
Waters most likely housed nuclear weapons as tensions grew in the 1980s.
You have to remember what the world was like in 1980. Some historians call it the start of the Second Cold War, a Cold War threatening to become a hot war, with two sides staring at each other.
Oh, it makes so much sense now why the train clerk business has started with a free roam mission. So if it's a free roam, then you'll still be in the session, but it forces the party because you're in the mission. That makes so much sense. Okay, I never thought of that before.
I'm not saying the aliens were actually listening to us, but if they were, they might have thought we were just days away from pushing the button. And here, a UFO came over a nuclear weapons base, was beaming shots of light down on nuclear weapons. I guess
Right.
scanning the weapons, it interfered with the base operations, interfered with the radios, they scrambled the security team, the UFO actually lured the security team off the base. So the Americans freak out. They shut it down, they do nothing, they don't want to talk about it.
Which one? No.
The United States hasn't investigated UFO.
I think it's these people right here.
Ended in January 1970. But to this day, Britain's Ministry of Defense does has honored their part.
It's not my fault, dude. It like Isabella shit.
Blood, sweat, and tears of joy for 3 times the electrolyte.
I'm not friends with them.
1 hydrating stick. 0 liquid IV, real hydrating. Now it's sugar-free. Colonel Hall, American, was not interviewed or debriefed by British authorities.
There was nothing
Why the
like
fuck are you niggas shooting?
before. All previous UFO sightings were just lights in the sky, really. The Americans kind of hope that the British will deal with
I'm about to fuck them up because of it.
It's an American problem, and that if anyone says nothing, hopefully the whole situation will go away.
British and American authorities simply advised Hall to send a memo to the UK's Ministry of Defense about the events in the forest. But 2 days prior to Colonel Hall's submission of his memo, another inexplicable event occurred. An event that left local resident and forester Richard Thurgood puzzled and disturbed.
I lived in a cottage just over there. I was out chopping wood.
Thurgood lived and worked in Rendlesham Forest at the time of the sighting.
Between Christmas and New Year, a car pulled up, 2 young English
Can't.
men
Hey, they gotta parley with us.
in suits.
And I'm not gonna find them.
And what they were asking was, they said, we've heard of red lights being seen in the forest.
Who were these mysterious men? And how did they know of the UFO event before Colonel Hall released the information?
It sounds to me like Vincent was actually visited.
The team uncovers some alarming answers. A few days after the UFO incident, 2 strange men interrogated the residents of Rendlesham Forest in Britain. No one knows who they were or what they wanted.
A car pulled up, 2 young Englishmen got out, say 25 years old, in suits, came and talked to me. And what they were asking was, they said, we've heard of red lights being seen in the forest. And were you out last night? I said, no. They said, did you see anything? Do you know anyone? And I said, no. And then they just closed the conversation down and went.
What's really exciting is this new information.
I shot her. She didn't.
Thurgood being visited by some kind of men in black. He did mention that 2 Englishmen in black suits and a black car visited him.
Fucking little bitch ass
like
nigga.
cliche, but it sounds to me like Vincent was actually visited by the men in black.
The UFO researchers recognize Thurgood's encounter as a classic Men in Black scenario. Frequently, after a UFO
Doesn't matter.
witnesses are reportedly visited by 2 men who question them about what they saw.
I started up on a
2 young
purpose.
British guys interviewed me, and I later found out they interviewed everyone in the area to check if we were out that night and if we'd seen anything.
Who do you think they were? Were they journalists? Were they?
Well, if they were journalists, they never published. And what's fascinating about that is Colonel Hart hadn't even written his letter.
Fucking hate when the other fucking people want to get involved for no reason.
He hadn't written that letter.
This case has been investigated for decades, right? And this is the first time I've heard anything about this Men in Black. It's a huge piece of the puzzle we're talking about here. So I need to go talk to Colonel Halt about this. I have a feeling he might be able to tell us a little bit more about it. Vincent told me that he was visited by 2 young men in black suits who questioned him about the incident. But the thing is, how would they know about it, as your memo hadn't been released yet?
I don't know who they were. It was done discreetly, I know that. I do know that the airmen involved were questioned under very mysterious circumstances by people that they didn't recognize.
Come on.
And some of them were British.
Come on.
It's a really big deal.
As a Department of
Okay.
Industry employee, Vincent Thurgood is an expert on the Rendlesham Forest area and believes that Halt's sighting of a UFO was no sighting at all.
I don't care. She shot me.
And he's trying to tell me that he really didn't find anything unusual in the area where the UFO supposedly landed. His argument is convincing that maybe it was the lighthouse.
6 miles away from the reported UFO landing site.
I don't know.
Sits orbit
I know, I shot them, and somehow they all left. What the fuck?
Servicemen mistook for the UFO.
I wanted to shoot them. You shot the wrong person, by the way. I don't know.
Believe they were looking at the lighthouse,
I caught that on broadcasting that they all somehow left out of nowhere.
which was pulsing at the same interval as the lighthouse and was, you know, less bright than the lighthouse. And yet on Colonel Hogg's tape, he makes no mention of it.
Let's see.
Vincent also said that the duration of the strobe on the lighthouse was every 5
They
seconds.
left.
Seemed to coincide with you making entries on your tape recorder every 5 seconds. Is that a coincidence?
Let me show you something. I have the tape recorder here with me. It's a small linear. The tape's 20 minutes in duration.
Yeah.
No way I could have kept the tape running the whole time. I must have stopped that tape 100 times. It's very simple to do. If you look, there's just a simple slide switch. I was going click, 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 click the whole time we were out there because I didn't want to run out of tape.
There it is. Hey, I see it too. What is it? We don't know, sir. Yeah, it's a strange, small red light. You'll see how...
If he kills us.
6 weeks later, Thurkettle inspected the 3 indentations the UFO supposedly made in the field.
So I'm going through the woods now, heart's going, really excited, and then we got to an area where there was a ring of sticks over a glade in the sort of bracken, this brown dead stuff around us, and he said, this is it. As I looked at it, I said, but these are rabbit scrapes.
Now, Vincent also had something to say about indentations in the ground. He's of the opinion that they were rabbit scrapings.
Keep in mind, a day or two after the incident, someone in the security police squadron, I'm sure, went out there and created at least 1, if not 2 false sites, and they put a lot of sticks in the ground around it.
Why would someone do that?
To mislead people, perhaps? I don't know.
So maybe Vincent was looking at the wrong site.
I don't know what he looked at. And he said it was 6 weeks later when he went out.
Why would someone like Vincent, basically someone who wasn't there, get so much credence for his theories?
You know, it's not uncommon for black programs, as I like to call them, to use disinformation as a very efficient tool, a very good way to discredit a story.
Just days before any reports went to the U.S. Air Force about the event at Bent Waters, British intelligence agents show up and start interviewing people. What were they doing? The British must have known, at some level of the government, what was going on and what they had to do to cover this up.
At first I thought, okay, maybe it could have been a lighthouse. But I'm really starting to believe that Colonel Hall did have a huge experience.
Conflicting testimony from highly credible witnesses have kept the debate about the lighthouse theory alive for more than 27 years. But can the testimony stand up to the scrutiny of scientific proof?
I'm looking forward to getting more detail of where his position was, the position of this UFO, where it landed, and the position and orientation of the farmhouse.
The most widely accepted explanation is that the lighthouse emitted a beam of light that reflected off the farmhouse and created the mysterious light the soldiers saw. The team decides to test this theory.
Well, I thought what we want to do is get the best coordinates we can. I know it's been 27 years, but we'll just do the best we can. So Jeff and I will stay out here with the GPS, and if you two can go back to the site where you thought you were that night, and then adjust our positions based on your sight lines from that location.
Using the GPS coordinates of the main landmarks, the team will construct a 3D model of the event.
Is this kind of where they were?
Actually, a little more to the right.
Ted, a little bit this way.
Alright.
Further forward.
Okay. That's good. As best I can determine.
Yeah, they are. How can't you can't tell? Look at how they're close. They're like low 20s or less.
That's good.
Colonel Hall points out the location.
No, they're low levels.
Right, there's a notch in the far tree line over there. It was about 30 degrees from where I saw the object to where the lighthouse was. That was my recollection.
You can shoot this low level.
That was the light source. Is that good?
This one.
Yeah. Take a waypoint.
This one right here.
Okay, come on back here. We'll plug the GPS into the camera and we'll shoot from this
one right here. Right in front of me.
Was the object witnessed by more than 80 Air Force servicemen? And
No, this one right here. Yeah, this one.
A UFO? portion of the analysis.
Is it possible
It is a lot of look.
not light with what the troops in the forest saw?
Science
There's a person. Wait, there's a person right here, but he's invisible.
speaks out.
He's doing the invisible glitch. I know how to do it. Oh shit! I think I know it. I think that shit still works. Yeah, that's the.
Experiments producer John Tyndall has created a model of Rendlesham Forest to determine
Bro.
what the military officers witnessed. Was it a beam of light or a UFO?
Well, remember we were in Rendlesham Forest in England. We took GPS coordinates.
No, it's not.
And photographs as well. This was the view from where Colonel Halt was standing that night. And with that and the photographs, we
Come here, Dutch.
to scale exactly what was happening there.
And what
Dutch.
we want to do is prove and or disprove two
Right.
points. The first point is, can a lighthouse 6 miles in the distance have any sort of effect on the face of that?
This dude wanna be Dutch.
Can the UFO have an effect on the face of that building? What the colonel was saying was he was actually seeing reflections coming back from the windows. So in that miniature, we put some little dental mirrors in there actually to aid us in doing the reflection.
Never before has somebody actually
Hell yeah.
set up the angles of sight between the lighthouse, the farmhouse, the clearing, and the forest.
Whoa.
What's line of sight now?
Right over here.
So this is the
His
position. where
name.
we're
He's
standing.
173.
We set this up as a line of sight so we can get the exact angle to the lighthouse.
What we're saving here? No, you didn't.
I see it.
Jeff, why don't you bring the magic
Oh.
UFO on then, and we're going to approximate it in that area.
Oh hell yeah, Eddie joined. Fuck yeah. We got Dutch in our crew now.
You can see the reflection in the window from his point of view, and what's
Same.
interesting is that the lighthouse is a separate light,
We got Dutch.
not reflected in the window.
Alright.
No reflection from the lighthouse.
Yeah, he accepted it, that's
in
dope.
this line of sight. You see the light directly, but you don't see any reflection.
Alright.
But I don't understand how the lighthouse even plays into this.
That's a very good point.
The lighthouse is almost over the horizon.
Yeah, he
It's a very
is.
strange idea that experienced servicemen would get excited about a lighthouse in the distance.
I don't know, but kick him, kick him, kick him, kick him! Yeah!
The second experiment was where must there have been a light source in order to create a reflection off the windows of the house and into Colonel Holt's office.
I'm seeing the reflection on the window from the object that's supposed to be the UFO.
I'm gonna go get him!
UFO from that position definitely made the house look that it was on fire, as if it were on fire.
Right, that's what he
behind
guessed.
the window.
Like a pupil of an eye looking at you, winking. And the flash is so bright it almost burns your eye.
I think it's safe
Yeah,
to
it
say
is.
that if there was a very bright light in the position
I'm
Colonel
a-
Halt observed there today, the angle of reflection off of the house is just about optimal off those windows to get the brightest reflection back to the observation.
I think basically we just closed the door about or for
Dutch!
being the source of the
Dutch Vanderlyn!
saw that night, whether it's a
Dutch
UFO,
Vanderlyn!
not a UFO, who knows what it is.
Alright. Wonder what rank is this dude?
One person may be able to provide a definitive answer to this UFO debate. Keith Seaman is the keeper of the Beaufort Nest Lighthouse.
Is it possible?
Yup, your horse went down, bud. Your horse went down.
2619.
And I went down too.
Behind us, we can see that it's got a big
Dutch Vanderlyn.
pointing in the direction of Rendlesham, which is over there. And albeit that the intensity of the light was greater then, in 1980, than it is now, the light still wouldn't have shone actually directly through the trees. All you would see on a clear night is the flash of the lighthouse every 5 seconds going across the sky.
So you're saying that that cover, that piece of metal that is blocking the light, was there in 1980?
It's always been there.
So there's never been a time in the history of the White House
Oh shit.
the light was actually shining towards Rendlesham Forest.
No.
I think we finally got a whole new piece to the puzzle. According to Keith Siemens, the lighthouse attendant, there's a big piece of metal on the backside of the lighthouse that doesn't shine towards land, it shines out to sea. So this is like a huge, exciting, new piece of information that
I'm so sorry.
and thankfully,
Oh shit.
to find out for ourselves.
You're like, what the fuck?
And confirm the entire story that Colonel Holt said.
I'm so sorry.
Went to the tower, brand new spot, where a witness
I did that with the Lamonts too.
saw the entire event play out from the vantage point of the tower and could see everything. We've interviewed other witnesses, and
What happened?
single story was credible.
All these
Yeah, why you say fuck off to?
for over 30 years now. And we've completely disproven the whole lighthouse thing.
Yeah, but guys, it's not like just by disproving the lighthouse theory, we've proven the existence of UFOs. I mean, there still could be other explanations. You know, we know there are 2 top secret Air Force bases in the area. It could have
You
been,
want to kill me, you said?
top secret military aircraft or a drone or something. I just don't want to jump to the conclusion that it was
Are you sure?
extraterrestrial UFO vehicles.
True.
Fine.
What if it
Go
was
ahead, kill me.
a drone, but maybe it wasn't ours. You know, that would explain all the disinformation around the topic, right? The government's denial that anything of significance happened there.
And I, without hesitation, for one thing in my mind, sticks.
You're like, what?
Things that I know don't float out into the field and then split into 5 separate lights and go in 5 separate directions.
Well, it's serious.
Oh shit.
Look,
What happened?
I think we've really closed it up. We've sent the skeptics running. As you say, we've shown it could not possibly have been their favorite theory. You know what? We've debunked the debunkers.
The Rendlesham Forest case differs from other reported sightings because of the number of women.
At King Supers, everyone wins because you get the same great prices, deals, and rewards no matter
Where are you? What did you thought about that when you thought you hit a headshot on me? Oh shit. Right?
So happening. Spice things up with Schlotsky's new spicy favorites.
Witnesses
This is like artist have a midnight beaver.
The deputy base commander is telling me that he had a UFO event.
and the physical evidence.
It still did it again.
But like most UFO cases, there may be an earthly explanation.
What do you think about that? Every time it blocks one headshot.
Did the troops really encounter a UFO? Is it
It is.
nuclear bases are being monitored by something not
It's funny.
I'm firmly convinced that what we saw was something.
Yeah, if you wear the Carta Never Without One in the beaver pelt, it blocks one headshot every time.
as mysterious as the UFOs themselves.
Yeah.
There's something very, very strange.
In the skies over California, some of the strangest images ever seen.
This actually was taken in Bakersfield, California.
Craft that seemingly defy the rules of physics. Like some of the world's most advanced technology, there are applications
Ooh, who accepted this?
that come from beyond the stars. Is it possible that
Same.
humans have been secretly reverse engineering crashed UFOs, creating technological marvels that seem to appear out of nowhere? I shouldn't be talking about it. Does the SR-71 Blackbird spy plane owe its revolutionary design to the UFO sightings reported by its creator? Is it just coincidence? The B-2 stealth bomber and the F-117 fighter jet resemble the craft described in the first modern UFO sighting.
There was an object in the sky.
He actually saw what was almost like a stealth fighter.
Are these military drone aircraft reverse engineered from captured UFOs?
I've never seen something like this before.
Our technology has advanced exponentially over the past 60 years, more quickly than our ability to deal with its consequences.
We're playing with time travel. We're playing with telekinesis.
But is some of our most advanced technology not our own? This is case number 47204, reverse engineering. The team from UFO Magazine is in
So what?
looking at the strangest evidence of reverse engineering in recent years.
This actually was taken allegedly in Bakersfield, California, showing a very
This fucking bitch, nigga.
It looks very sophisticated.
The photo was posted.
Hog tie this nigga alive. I want this fool alive.
The craft is hoop
Or capture him. Either way, I'm about to fuck him up because of it.
James Carrion is the international director of MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, founded in 1969 to scientifically and objectively
Is he still alive?
UFOs. It has become one of the outstanding resources for UFO research.
Another series of photos came out May 16th.
Oh my god. I was not expecting that.
Was posted by someone using a different screen name, but it seems to show the same craft in a different part of the state.
Now, after these initial images came out, in May, another series of images were reported directly to MUFON's website, allegedly taken by a cell phone.
3 sets of photos, seemingly of the same craft. What is the correlation? Most of the locations are near Saratoga, California, and that's not all. Nearby are NASA's Ames Research Center, and 10 miles away, Moffett Field, also now administered by NASA. This has added to the speculation that the craft, whatever it is a creation of the United States government.
This last series of photos that came out in Big Basin, California in June, if you look closely enough at them, you'll see that they have on them symbols.
The cryptic symbols
Is he still alive?
of his body do not resemble any known alphabet, but one person has come forward claiming to know their origin.
A gentleman named Isaac claimed
I want to fuck this dude up because of it.
symbols that were on these drone craft because he worked on them under a secret government project back in the 1980s called the Carrot Program.
Who's talking, chat?
In 2007, a man identifying himself as Isaac posted a letter on the internet claiming he had been an engineer for a secret government program called Carrot, Commercial Application Research for Extraterrestrial Technology. He backed up his claims by posting documents which he had allegedly stolen from Carrot and photocopied.
No way.
Quote, the military was hard at work trying to understand and use the extraterrestrial artifacts it had in its possession. MUFON has been investigating the claims and analyzing the Carrot documents to assess Isaac's credibility.
So he released a series of documentation.
Yeah.
And these were the major allegations. He believes these craft use invisibility technology, that the reason they were seen by these photo witnesses is because the invisibility cloak was disrupted by some non-human technology.
The claims from this elusive witness may seem extreme, but scientists, engineers, and experts the world over believe that government
Right, chorus is always badass. That's why I rapped that song about him.
60 years. But such claims have never before been supported with documents and photographs as clear and detailed as these.
Oh, is that right?
What if there was this reverse engineering program going on, and then these are like little test flights happening in the skies?
So for me to get a better sense of this, we need to get some image analysts to review those, look at the case here, and give us their expert opinion.
Look, I'll tell you one thing. Reverse engineering is very, very tough to prove. Extremely tough to prove. But there are some incredible experts in the field and see what their take is on what's been reverse engineered technology. So, Pat, let's collect this material. Let's get to the experts.
You got it.
The team travels to Littleton, Colorado to meet an engineer who claims to have first-hand knowledge that government reverse engineering programs are real.
For years because I thought it was a classified thing and I shouldn't be talking about it.
John Schuster, NASA during the Gemini and Apollo programs. 1962 until his retirement in 1998. His introduction into UFO phenomenon began with NASA's Gemini missions.
On the first Gemini flight, it was the Gemini Titan II. It was an unmanned mission.
January 19, 1965. The Gemini Titan II rocket launches into space at 2:03 p.m. Minutes later, as the rocket makes its suborbital flight, Schuessler notices something anomalous.
When that came around the Earth the first time, it was reported there were two objects with it. And they were spotted by radar. And on the second time around...
I swear that fucking, I love that fucking, the never went that one with the beaver pelt. That shit is so funny.
Witnessed by astronauts. June 4th, 1965. The Gemini 4 capsule orbits above Hawaii. Astronaut James McDivitt
Yeah, we can.
controls while his partner Ed White sleeps.
I understand.
An object appears.
Oh shit.
As a cylindrical object with a long arm jutting out from one side. He takes 2 photographs. Then,
damn,
so might hit the object. He turns on the rocket engines and moves the spacecraft to a safer location. When he looks out the window again, the object is gone.
He was very candid about saying that he did see something that wasn't ours. It was a guy who was a general in the Air Force. He was a well-known fighter pilot and dead serious when he said something's going on.
NORAD's official explanation was that the object was the discarded second stage of the Titan II rocket. But while McDivitt insisted that it wasn't what he saw, he never filed a UFO report and declined to speak publicly on his sighting. Schuessler began compiling documents detailing NASA's UFO encounters, describing what the craft looked like and how they flew. His investigations didn't go unnoticed.
I shouldn't be talking about it. In fact, I was called in and asked for some documents, UFO documents, by an advanced design group designing
oh shit, she's like, oh yeah, wait, what?
Look and see if there was a reverse engineering stealth technology. But before long, that group was working stealth technology.
Stealth is one of many astounding technologies developed over the past 60 years.
Exactly.
Since the 1940s, technology has progressed at a seemingly exponential rate. Transistors and microcircuitry have revolutionized electronics. Advances in aviation materials allow our planes to fly faster than was previously believed possible. But did we do it alone? A landmark event coincides with the beginning of the technological revolution. Was the timing coincidental, or is there a connection? July 7th, 1947.
But this dude is like, how the fuck is he killing me that far with the Lamonts?
Witnesses have testified
Because I'm only using pistols to shoot.
away by the U.S. Army.
You believe that there must have been a crash somewhere along the line, or somehow we acquired one of these vehicles.
Technology items suddenly burst onto the scene in 2 or 3 locations at once. Like they've all been fed as some seed, you know, to make it grow, and they all...
What the hell is it going on right now? The fuck?
Reported in the early crashes. They didn't call them fiber optics, but they look like...
You guys sound like you guys are making love.
Visibility. We had lots of reports that UFOs were flying along.
Yeah, I just said that.
They've checked with the ground, they've got ground track radar on it, they have aircraft visual and aircraft radar. You could not see.
Yeah.
Technological advances being
Of course I have.
were described years ago by UFO witnesses.
Just recently, it was said that they can make a tank look invisible by projecting the image behind it in front of it. You know, you can't even see a tank sitting on the ground.
Yeah, that's true.
British defense researchers recently made a tank invisible by projecting the background image onto a special foreground surface. UFO witnesses have long reported craft apparently in front of their eyes.
You were there. What was the scuttlebutt in that community? Were people talking?
The guys talk about things of very unusual nature to each other, but they don't talk to people outside of that community. The special access community is a very close community, and you will lie, cheat, or steal to protect it. And it's necessary to be that way.
Would you have heard any rumors? Who's got what?
I would not say that on camera.
I asked him straight up, okay, well, you know people, you know, who've you talked to?
Well, what happened?
Stuff. Who's got the goods? Where's this craft being kept?
Why, what happened?
You don't want me shot, do you?
And he basically said, no, I can't tell you that. Schuster is certain that reverse engineering of downed UFOs is being done.
Yeah, I'm watching the History Channel.
Way too many advancements coming out, and people don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. Advanced technologies have long and complicated histories, making it difficult to trace their development. But one aviation expert has noticed striking similarities between a UFO and a revolutionary U.S.
It's either that one or it's this one.
Air Force Base, Riverside County, California. Aircraft journalist Bernard Tornell has studied the sudden invention of the SR-71, more commonly referred to as the Blackbird.
He used to raise the stars of the Cold War.
Lockheed designer Clarence Kelly Johnson defied all conventional aeronautical design when he created the SR-71. Its flattened shape and tapering sides reduced its radar signature to a minimum. Aircraft of comparable size to the Blackbird appear on radar screens the size of a flying house, but the SR-71 appears the size of just the front door. Even more astounding, Kelly achieved this effect 25 years before the stealth fighter was unveiled. It was the first craft to be comprised mainly of titanium, and one of the first attempts in stealth design. Where did Kelly Johnson's advanced ideas come from?
That blended wing fuselage, the stubby wings, and the huge tail surfaces, a plane that by right shouldn't fly.
You're saying that the designer of the SR-71 was inspired by UFO sighting?
Johnson had 2 verified encounters with UFOs, and subsequently 5 reports of both.
Yeah, he's your big boy.
Sketch of UFO, the first blueprint.
Yeah.
In December 1963, the SR-71 was unveiled. Its Mach 3 cruising speed.
Oh shit, that's a good one. Oh fuck.
Aviation experts. But some
right.
of these advances were somehow
no, because you guys are.
Kelly Johnson's reports of seeing UFOs. Johnson died in 1990 without answering the question.
So you're on the bottom and Corvus is on top?
Clarence Kelly had a UFO sighting.
November 15, 1951. Johnson witnesses a strange object.
Oh shit.
Flying moon shape, unlike any known aircraft.
What do you want, Emily? Why?
Suddenly you saw something.
Why are you keep doing that, damn it?
Very metallic.
Why?
There was also another sighting.
I do not understand. Is it because of my beer repellent?
2 years later, Johnson notices a dark elliptical.
Is it because of that?
In the sky. Suddenly,
yeah, I'm about to go say hi to them.
At impossibly fast speed.
We saw
maybe.
With 2 exos going very fast. It was not a jet, and he didn't know what it was.
Johnson made detailed notes and a sketch of that object. He believed it to be approximately 2
Who's hopping on?
hovering at an altitude of 15,000 feet and about 30 to 60 miles away. His sketch of the enigmatic object strongly resembles the plane he designed 13 years later.
He mentioned that.
Give me a ride!
That the most interesting thing is another crew was flying at the same time.
Johnson's UFO sighting was independently confirmed by 2 Lockheed pilots on a
who's speaking?
flight near Long Beach, California.
It's a camcorder.
Is that Ethan?
What they saw.
The 2 pilots both reported seeing the same dark shape and Johnson's estimate of the object's altitude and speed.
We have to remember that Clarence Kelly Johnson was the founder of Lockheed Skunk Works, an aerospace company that went on to design some of the most advanced flying craft in the world. So this was no average engineer. One has to wonder, was this sketch of
No, I'm good.
the first blueprint of an SR-71?
No, I'm good.
It would be incredibly interesting as an engineer or scientist to try to reverse engineer something like a UFO. An engineer can
Whoa, what happened?
have and see some hints towards how to evolve it.
Whatever the source of his inspiration, Kelly Johnson's SR-71 was the first of an ongoing stream of ever more sophisticated stealth designs. The SR-71 has had an impact on every military plane in the sky today. The SR-71 is not the only plane whose revolutionary design raised questions about its origin. When the B-2 stealth bomber and the F-117 stealth fighter were unveiled, their flying wing shape was revolutionary, but even more astounding is their lack of radar signature. Due to a revolutionary top-secret skin that UFO researchers believe also to be reverse engineered, the airplanes are completely undetectable while flying. Ufologists immediately remembered the first modern UFO sighting in 1947, when pilot Kenneth Arnold saw unknown flying wing-shaped objects over Mount Rainier, Washington.
People believe that Kenneth Arnold saw a saucer in the sky. Wrong. What Kenneth Arnold actually saw was almost a delta wing shape, almost like a stealth fighter. The craft that actually crashed at Roswell was not a flying saucer. It was a flying crescent.
Oh.
Today's flying wing designs are almost direct descendants of the modified blended flying wing that crashed at Roswell.
A flying wing aircraft blends the fuselage into the wings, creating a wing-shaped plane. Although a flying wing has superior lift and fuel efficiency, historically it's proved hard to maneuver. The Germans produced a jet-powered flying wing aircraft in 1944, but pressures of war kept designers from solving the craft's many technical difficulties. The U.S. Air Force began developing flying wing aircraft, but shut down the program in 1948 when it was 2 test pilots and 3 engineers. Was technology taken from the Roswell crash responsible for the eventual perfection of the flying wing?
If these UFOs existed and they were just thousands of years more advanced than what we are familiar with today, I'm not sure that we would be able to understand it.
Reverse engineering entails copying everything from an existing machine, from complicated electronics down to the chemical composition of basic materials. It's no easy task, even when the technology being copied is from right here on Earth.
The B-29 bomber is probably the best example of reverse engineering.
Through the Cold War, World War II, World War I, the military has been doing...
So why are you guys shooting them again? Because I don't understand this shit.
Of the U.S. getting their hands on Russian aircraft and reverse engineering the functionality or some of the advanced...
I don't understand because they're not shooting at me.
And it goes both ways. The Russians are doing the same thing to us.
It's undisputed that countries routinely reverse engineer technology.
Yeah, because the boss is cool. Everyone's over here not shooting at me.
Stalin gave the order.
I understand.
If you can get B-29, try to rebuild it.
July 31st, 1944. A B-29 bomber experiences engine problems and is forced to land near Vladivostok, USSR. Later, 2 other B-29s also make emergency landings in Russia. Another crashes in Siberia. All 4 craft.
Just see, they're just chilling.
Their reverse engineering effort,
at least in this area.
The Russians were ordered to rebuild the B-29 bolt per bolt, one and one, 5,000 pieces.
Right.
Highly complex machinery is not always...
And I'm dirty as fuck, you see that?
The Russians were not able to
That real horse ran me over.
With the B-29 having difficulty just to make a small...
That could have been an accident.
Imagine getting a UFO that might be so incredibly sophisticated, so incredibly advanced. It could be from a civilization thousands of years engineering-wise ahead of us. Maybe we could reproduce the geometries of those components in that UFO, but for us to understand the fundamental physics, that's a huge stretch.
The claim that the U.S. government is actively engaged in reverse engineering alien craft has always been highly controversial. But recently, new material has been released purporting to be photographic and documentary evidence of recovered technology. Proven
I don't know why he does that.
Something else. Today's mainstream technology could have been wholly developed by our planet's cleverest species, us. But the idea that we reverse
You shoot up like that.
alien technology continues to intrigue.
Yeah, you should have like that.
Allegedly of U.S. military drones inspired by real UFOs. MUFON director James Carey
Yep, it does.
similarities between the photographs of the purported military
That's how he was doing it.
famous UFO crash in Pennsylvania. December 9th, 1965. Thousands of people in 6 states and Ontario, Canada report seeing a brilliant fireball streak overhead. A number of frantic calls from witnesses were recorded on tape and still survive.
Across the sky came a huge white ball. There was an object in the sky 2 minutes before 5.
Metallic debris reportedly drops over northern Ohio, and the object causes sonic booms in western Pennsylvania. According to witnesses, it finally lands in the woods outside Kecksburg, Pennsylvania, 30 miles southeast of Pittsburgh. Local firemen rush to the scene, but discover a U.S. military unit has already cordoned off the area. Soldiers reportedly take the mysterious object to an undisclosed location, presumed to be Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio. The official explanation is that a meteor has crashed. But numerous witnesses and newspapers believe that this was in fact a UFO, and that it has played a key role in the U.S. military's reverse engineering program.
If you look at eyewitness information, who actually saw the Kecksburg object, they saw it make a 25-degree trajectory change. There's some sort of intelligent control when it came down. An eyewitness test.
Crunchy for you and melty for you. You pick 2 and get more at Panera.
Tony states that what they found was an intact craft on the ground. It had made a trench where it had come down after it broke through a bunch of trees, and that it was retrieved intact by the military, put on a flatbed truck, and transported out of the area.
Carrion's research has revealed that numerous eyewitnesses of the Kecksburg crash reported seeing strange symbols on the base of the UFO. When the town erected a monument to the crashed object, the symbols were prominently recreated. And now, 40 years after the crash, they are apparently turning up in another context.
So we see the correlation between the symbols on the drone craft and the symbols that were seen on the Kecksburg.
If the Carrick documents are indeed real, they indicate the government may be using private industry to reverse engineer. Private entities have another advantage. They're immune to Freedom of Information requests.
That object that is in that image is completely inconsistent with the physics of aircraft flying. For example, the mass distribution or the center of gravity is way off. So there's no way that could fly through air at high speed, which leaves me thinking there's some miracle technology that's way beyond anything we can understand. Maybe it's enveloped in a force field, and that's providing the aerodynamics. But it's important to look at the physics of what's being presented.
Have you had a chance to analyze those?
Oh yeah, these are some of the drone images.
Dr. Bruce Maccabee was an optical physicist for the United States Navy.
Gun we invite me to their session. It could be a wagon ready. You guys want to join that?
And these pictures were essentially posted on the internet. I should point out that clearly this is not an aerodynamic type of structure that we're looking at here. If it really is real and flying along, it's using some extraordinary means. It could be extremely lightweight and blowing air downwards, I suppose.
Oh, is that right, Emily?
It's immediately obvious that these vehicles, if real,
that's some rock-ass boom chicka boom.
In order to fly, they would have to use some unknown method of propulsion and lift.
It seems in just about every case the quality of images is very low. In this case, with the military drones, for once we have what appear to be very well exposed digital photographs.
Wait a second, it's missing some pieces of the craft. And this is it early?
Maccabee notes that one of the earliest photographs, allegedly taken in May 2007, differs from a photo said to be taken a month later. The most recent image shows a more highly developed craft.
And this is it early?
I said this is a more developed version of it.
So you're saying that there are a series of images that were posted that show a progression of features on the craft?
Well, you can see how this initial version was. It had spires or spikes that came up. It had a circular donut-shaped main body. It had a tail going out to the side and a spike coming off.
And yet, over subsequent images, it's developed or grown more components. Either that means this craft is actually deploying additional hardware or parts, or somebody is building up a CGI model and developing the complexity of the model over the sequence of the photos.
You'd think it to see
all the stuff that's been presented around this Isaac case and these drones, it's all very interesting, but all of this hinges on the testimony of some guy named Isaac. I need some kind of evidence to support this, and I think we have to investigate this further to really know if any of this is true.
Is this
real? Is that right?
The search for the truth only adds more layers to the enigma. These photographs, reportedly shot over California in 2007, show craft possibly reverse-engineered by our government from captured alien technology. Although the Carrot documents allege that reverse engineering is being subcontracted out to private facilities, most UFO researchers believe that if it's taking place, it's being done at high-security military bases.
I'm coming up with a lot of documents here about underground bases and their connection to reverse engineering.
The file includes a declassified, formerly top-secret 1952 briefing prepared for incoming President Dwight Eisenhower.
This says top secret, eyes only. It's prepared for President-elect Eisenhower, and it goes on to say that the Roswell crash was real, and the wreckage of the craft was removed to several different locations. One of them, possibly Area 51.
Two names have become synonymous with reverse engineering: Dulce Mesa, New Mexico, and Area 51. A number of scientists and engineers who worked at Area 51 reported suspicious activity at the site.
Robert Lazar supposedly was one of the people who was asked by the Air Force to go to Area 51 and give his advice on how to reverse engineer the propulsion systems of all the craft that were kept at Area 51.
Bob Lazar surfaced in the early 1990s, claiming to have been an engineer who worked at Area 51, supposedly reverse engineering captured UFOs.
Here's a story about a guy named Bill Newhouse.
You have to get a horse and hop on the side of it.
He claims he worked with an EBE, an extraterrestrial
biological
entity.
Right.
Another purported base involved with reverse engineering is located underneath the town of Dulce, New Mexico.
Dulce is a very secret military base that is underground. According to the United States Army's own mining engineers, this is the most heavily tunneled area in the entire world. That ever since the late 1940s,
you do so.
Tunnels in all these states. Dulce is one of those tunnels.
I know that there are bases that are tunneled deep into the ground for their protection so that they can survive, let's say, a nuclear attack. But are there these secret underground bases where reverse engineering vehicles? That I can't say for sure.
A subject surrounded by secrecy is always an easy target for hoaxers. And digital image manipulation has made their job easier than ever, which isn't to say that the photographs aren't real. Ted meets with computer graphics specialist Phil Crescenza at his studio in Agora, California, to analyze the drone photographs.
The light for these objects appears to be coming from this angle. I'm not sure that that's the same angle that the light for the telephone pole. If anything, I would say that it's deceptive.
Phil has noticed that all the photographs show the craft moving toward or away from a wooded area.
You should be able to.
But never over it.
None of these shots really have the ship behind woods, where you would think someone, if they saw a craft like this, would be shooting constantly, and one or two of these shots would have it behind a lot more foliage. It's much easier to make a composite when you have all these straight lines, and for instance, if you were to try to keep this craft behind a number of leaves, that in this whole sequence of images, there are none where the craft
is
behind anything.
You know, either it's a really, really well-crafted hoax or a real image. It leaves me wondering, you know, what would it take to create these kinds of fake photos?
Remember the frame that I told you to look? This is it right here. I shot it yesterday, and I left a nice spot for me to put something into that frame. I just did a quick approximation of what the lighting might be for this shot and rendered a 3D object out. If I just bring the object in and lay it in the shot,
Wow, what happened?
you get a pretty stark image here.
To my eye, it seems clear.
There's something about UFOs.
Stuck on that. So the
Let's
first thing
see.
I would render it with
New
some
proof of UFOs will shake you
fairly slow.
to your core.
Have some motion blur.
UFO Hunter, 3 hour.
On the drone photos?
It's
Yeah.
one thing that I feel like I'm missing when I look at these photos is a little bit of motion blur. I don't see any rotation. I see no motion blur at all. It appears to be stationary, and that conflicts with the
Damn, that looks crazy.
moving across those telephone wires and moving across some of these
The photos they're
Now, the only
showing.
thing that this is missing to sort of fit into the shot is to have the grain from the background applied back onto the ship.
Right.
I mean, look at that.
I've already been knowing that shit was real.
Exactly.
It's impressive. I mean, you know, you've got it, to my eye, looking like maybe 99% believable that there's a UFO flying in your front yard.
But you can see how someone with even more time would probably be able to create a very convincing image.
After all of this analysis, you know, what is it? Is this real or is it a hoax?
I tend to go with this being a computer-generated image.
At the end of the day, we weren't able to prove that these were fakes or hoaxed. On the other side, we weren't able to prove that they were real. I'm not sure it's possible to do that. And bottom line, you know, I'm just not going to believe
Yeah, I have to get a side next to
solely
it.
based on a set of images.
If the carrot photos and documents are fakes, they are extremely good ones. Somebody has spent hours creating and detailing these documents.
Anyway, right next to me.
Why wrong?
No, you did it too soon.
Nobody's come forward. We have no identifiable person who says.
Right there.
So this whole thing smells like a hoax?
Reading between the lines.
Should.
Top of my list is disinformation. Okay. Are they trying to hide real alien technology? Are they trying to hide that we've been visited by extraterrestrials? Or are they just simply trying to hide a super secret weapon? But for me, the bottom line is there is a secret here that's being protected. It's being cloaked, and that's what MUFON's here to find out, what that secret is.
It's a matter of record that revolutionary forms of aircraft have been attempted in the years after World War II.
Rather than reverse engineer alien technology, most companies
I'm just watching the documentary.
created their own technology from scratch.
I'm just watching the documentary.
Avro Canada demonstrated Project Y2.
Yes, a genuine flying saucer.
The Avro car was an 18-foot saucer that used a turbo rotor for upward propulsion. But even after spending millions of dollars in research and development, the craft could hover only up to 8 feet at a maximum speed of 20 knots. Other disc-shaped craft all proved unstable, unflyable, and dangerous. But one man claims to have helped build a successful flying disc, not for any government, but for a private organization in Oklahoma.
I had an experience on board this 45-foot.
Ralph Rain is a technician who worked closely in the 1950s and 60s with Otis Carr.
That's true.
Who claimed to be a protege of Nikola Tesla. Carr believed he could build a working flying disc. And Ralph Rain asserts they succeeded.
Ralph, how did you meet Otis T. Carr? A friend of mine introduced me to a group called Understanding that was studying stuff like science. They brought Carr and his entourage out, and we got up there and brainstormed. We decided to get together and build spaceships.
In 1958, Oklahoma, Otis Carr starts construction of the OTC-X-1, a 45-foot flying saucer. He describes his invention on Long John Neville's New York radio show in 1959.
We have a truly space vehicle that does not burn up its energy in a few seconds. Could make a trip very easily in other aerial transportation systems from here to Baltimore or from here to the moon.
Carr claimed to have been shown secret theories and techniques of Nikola Tesla. There is no independent corroboration of Carr's story.
Well, Nikola Tesla was involved with this shit too. Which is crazy. Nicholas.
Which inspired him to use Tesla's theories to create a new form of propulsion.
We can accelerate with tremendous velocity
I was selected, and I had 2 other engineers that got on board.
Ralph and 2 engineers were the first passengers.
I had an experience on board of this 45-foot craft. Indescribable experience. Sure. We got on board, and Gar said, what we're going to do is we're going to vibrate this craft to that particular frequency, the color of aquamarine. So they fired it up, and this thing turned into this beautiful brilliant craft. And then he said, okay, that's it. He says, come on down to debriefing. That's the end of the experiment.
Ring remembers the entire experience lasting only 15 seconds, but that short period of time encompassed something much more phenomenal.
And he said, what you did was you went downrange 10 miles and you came back. You resonated here for about 5 to 10 seconds, and where you were was probably equate to about 15 minutes. He said, well, check your pockets. And we had these little jumpsuits on. We had emptied our pockets out. And there were stones and sticks and grass and everything. We piled it up on his desk. He said, well, where'd that come from?
The debris Ring found in his pocket was allegedly from an area 10 miles from the testing site. He asserts he did not have it before the testing of the craft.
How come we don't remember it? He said, well, because the brain has reached its optimal capacity.
Were there any external witnesses, extrinsic to the event itself?
Yeah. He was a police officer in Apple Valley at the time. And him and his buddy saw this craft. I looked up on my email, and the guy says, did you have jumpsuits on? And yeah. And I says, well, I think we saw you guys. I mean, you just were there for a few minutes and you left.
They had no idea what was going on. They felt the vibration. 2, there was a bright blue light. 3, they wound up 10 miles away with no sense of movement or any memory of flying there. What does that sound like? It sounds very much like an alien abduction. Otis Carr was using the same techniques that alien abductors use.
Could we talk a little bit about, what the fundamental principle
Because I've been killing
was
lots.
that makes it?
Well, the simple explanation I can give you.
I know, right? I need to go kill more.
And you then become, you synergize with it. You become kind of one with it.
Yeah, she left the palsy.
He has a limited understanding.
She just, I've been noticing she's been doing that lately. Just give us his mind and leave. She must be busy. Yeah. It's money.
Resonance is the specific pitch that triggers an exaggerated oscillation in an object. Every object has its own specific resonance.
Who knows how to do more with less nasal polyps? Noses know, thanks to Dupixent, the add-on treatment that shrinks nasal polyps and is an alternative to surgery. Noses know about breathing better with less congestion, about the chance to improve smell in as little as 3 days, which means you can get your nose into more things more often and do more of the things you love. Dupixent can cause allergic reactions that can be severe.
Obvious is 24, right? Yeah, already has that, so they obviously do the like Isabella.
Tell your doctor about new or worsening eye problems or joint aches and pain, and
You
if you
should.
have parasitic infection or asthma. Don't change or stop steroid or asthma medicines without talking to your doctor. Keep your nose happy. Do more and breathe better with less nasal polyps. Talk to your doctor about Dupixent.
What the fuck? Bro. Maybe. Maybe not.
A tuning fork in the key of C has little.
Did I do something wrong?
Fork in the key of D. But if both tuning forks are in the same key, striking one will cause the other to permanently separate. Another example is a crystal
Right, he fucked up.
made to resonate so violently at a certain note that it will actually shatter.
Revive my horse.
We have to remember that sometimes out-of-the-box thinking is very difficult to accept. And there were many great thinkers in the past whose ideas we could not accept.
He was too close and
when he came up with
just
relativity.
kind of kill him. I like a little bit far away shots, not that close.
The idea that we would one day be in orbit and in space, people thought this would never happen. We would never go into space. So I would be reluctant to dismiss Ralph Ring's claims that there are different energies out there that we have yet to tap into.
Carr's theories are so removed from accepted laws
That's
of
because of me. If you leave, you're blue.
But when experiments producer John Tyndall applied resonant frequency to an object in his laboratory, he was amazed to discover that at least part of what Carr claimed may be valid.
Listen to what kind of resonant frequency Otis Carr was using. But I've set up basically an acoustic levitation chamber that's going to use resonant frequencies to levitate this little flying saucer. This is an acoustic levitation chamber. Basically, I'm going to take this little foam cup and hopefully get it to hover and fly around inside just by using sound waves. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this into a resonance chamber.
The resonance chamber has 3 speakers placed on the top, the side, and the back, reflecting the 3 dimensions of space.
I have X, Y, and Z axes that I can control from these 3 oscillators. It's amazing how much and how little energy you need once you hit it. Ah, see? Here it is.
Wow. The oscillators are tuned to the resonant frequency of the chamber, which vibrates in sympathy to the tone being generated by the speakers and amplifies it. The intense vibrations set up a standing wave inside the chamber. The cup is actually riding the crest of the standing wave, not unlike a surfer rides the crest of an ocean wave.
There you have it.
Can you turn it upside down again?
Well, we'll try. There you go. Wow. Nice.
John Tyndall has demonstrated that sound waves can move or levitate an object, which Carr claimed was how he intended to propel his saucer.
When you do hit the resonant frequency, all heck breaks loose. All bets are off.
How exactly would this relate to the Otis T. Carr experiments and UFO technology?
So if he has stumbled upon some sort of ether resonant frequency that we haven't stumbled upon, then there could be some strange things come out of that.
I think it's a big stretch. It doesn't fit any of the existing scientific models that we have. But this idea of
He just keeps running up to me. You should never kill me.
Collect energy is an interesting idea.
Theory like this, using sound waves to move an object, might have seemed preposterous 25 years ago, but imagine what we might have in another 25 years.
Guys, after all this investigation, this case on reverse engineering, I have to admit, I remain really skeptical. The testimonies we've collected in the case so far, you know, they seem like reasonably credible people, but in each case it's been individuals saying that they have eyewitness experience with some aspect of reverse engineering.
What about all the people we've talked to that are so highly credible? Bernard Tunnell, John Schuster of MUFON, they say they know of reverse engineering going on, or they know of people who are involved in reverse engineering. And I don't see why we shouldn't believe them. How can you reject that kind of testimony?
But we still don't have the actual vehicle.
It's easy to say, where's the UFO? That's our job, is to hunt for it. Can we find it? Next to impossible, because they're going to keep it from us.
The real truth behind the reverse engineering of reported downed UFOs will probably never be known. There is little hard evidence, only witnesses who contradict each other. Yet it's undisputed that reverse engineering is practiced on conventional items.
This dude just keeps going up to
We're
me.
playing with time travel, we're playing with telekinesis, we're playing with psychokinesis, we're playing with a whole bunch of things that are way beyond our human imagination to comprehend. Yet we're
Could we possibly resist the temptation to analyze an advanced craft if one fell into our hands? And if we did manage to learn the secrets of an advanced civilization, would we prove ourselves advanced enough to use them wisely? There are certain places on Earth UFO skeptics should avoid at all costs. They are vortexes for strange encounters. These UFO hotspots are where thousands of people have reported seeing unexplained objects in the sky around the world. The Hudson River Valley, New York, Stonehenge, Sedona, Arizona. Enigmatic photographs, cryptic ruins, and a search for answers.
And there certainly
Is that
an
right?
airplane that goes into a motion like that and lives.
Are these places the Earth's open door?
Yeah.
What could they have in common? According to a new
No, I'm
theory,
not.
a lot more than you think.
There is a direct correlation between the UFO sightings and the location of these chambers.
This is case number 80103, Vortexes.
Because I felt bad. He just kept running.
Receive more rain than others.
Like running up to me.
Some locations are hotter.
So I'm gonna just do a moonshot run.
And some have a preponderance of something else. UFOs. A region's extreme environmental conditions can be explained now that science has shown the underlying forces that determine our weather. But what explains UFO hotspots? If UFOs exist, a new theory may explain the conditions that create a preponderance of sightings in specific locations on Earth. One of those conditions may be something created by the Earth itself.
There may be huge pockets of energy spilling out of the Earth, and these extraterrestrials know how to tap
just
into
calm.
that. Might explain why we have these hot spots, why some UFOs seem to be spotted around certain areas.
An actual very reputable
is that
researchers
right?
have said, spiraling around the planet are these ley lines, and they form what's known as the Earth's grid. It's the Earth's grid of a certain kind of energy, whether it's magnetic, whether it's electrical, that actually
Melbourne, everyone at the moonshot.
where these ley lines and where the Earth's grid, the lines on the Earth's grid meet, these are the vortices.
Because I can.
The dark, sinister woods of the Hudson River Valley.
What?
My words, this fight ain't over.
What? What did I do?
1923. All episodes now streaming exclusively on Paramount Plus.
Oh, Sarai.
With Spot Me, I can overdraft up to
Brought everyone in.
free.
Install the Chime app today.
For the legends of the Headless Horseman and Ripper.
Hell yeah.
Their mystery has endured into our times, but now
Yes, I did, and I loved it.
June 25th, 1962. Balls of light pass over Ossining, causing vehicles below to stall. June 15, 1963. An enormous craft moves silently through the skies over Newburgh. December 31st, 1981. The start of the biggest UFO vortex mystery of all time, when thousands of witnesses report seeing something very strange in the sky. It all begins when a retired policeman in Kent, New York, steps out into his backyard for a breath of crisp night air. A cluster of red, green, and white lights in the sky catches his attention. Assuming at first that they are helicopters flying in formation, he watches the lights move toward him from the south. As the lights get closer, he is stunned to see that these are not helicopters. A huge V-shaped craft with colored lights spaced along the edges is moving through the sky.
Yeah, let's get on the horse and jump on the side.
Passes overhead. It hums. The object is seen regularly in the area for the next 5 years. On March 24th, 1983, hundreds of people see a gigantic boomerang with 18 bright lights cruising slowly, parallel to the Taconic Parkway.
Damn.
The witnesses who get out of their cars to
That fucking UFO looks crazy.
notice something distinctive. It hums as it passes overhead, and looks and sounds like no other aircraft. The switchboard of Peekskill and Yorktown police are flooded that night, with calls reporting a giant V-shaped craft moving slowly over the area. Sightings continued regularly for the next 5 years. By the time the flap is over in 1986, more than 5,000 reports of the strange craft are filed. What could cause the activity in the Hudson Valley or at other UFO hotspots around the world? One theory has something to do with how the Earth itself works. The Earth's core generates an enormous amount of electricity. Inconsistencies in the crust means that the energy release in some areas is stronger than in others. It's been theorized that ancient monuments sit on these power points, and that by connecting them with straight lines called ley lines, a worldwide grid can be mapped. Before the team takes their investigation to the Hudson River Valley, Stonehenge, and Sedona, Arizona, they visit the laboratory of experiments producer John Tyndall. He has prepared a demonstration of how the enormous electrical energy generated by the Earth's molten core may emerge on our planet's surface in specific locations that could be referred to as vortexes.
The Earth is one giant dynamo. It is making electricity on the inside, and the Earth's crust varies in terms of its resistance to electricity.
So you can imagine at different locations around the Earth's crust, we have these different sort of highly conductive tails, which are these concentrations of the various effects that cause the higher conductivity through the Earth's crust. These could hypothetically be located where we have our major grid vortex points.
John places light bulbs representing Sedona, Stonehenge, and the Hudson River Valley on the metal globe. The light bulbs are not electrically connected, just clipped into position.
This now represents your different hotbeds, and some laying on ley lines.
As John simulates the power generated by the movement of molten metal at the Earth's core, the current arcs to the light bulbs. Is electrical power reaching up to specific vortexes on our Earth's crust? And is it causing UFO activity?
So in addition to picking up the electrical current, are the probes also drawing the current to it?
They are grounded to this cage, and the current is drawn to these.
So I've been fucking. It was on my arm.
Much as different areas in the crust may conduct electricity a little bit more, and you'll have stronger magnetic fields as a result of that.
To investigate the characteristics UFO hotspots seem to have in common around the world, the team first travels to the Hudson River Valley.
We're here in the Hudson Valley, and we're investigating the Earth's core. Hudson Valley in New York is a spot where lines of energy meet and form a vortex.
The memory of what happened here is still fresh to thousands of witnesses. Now, a theory involving the world grid could provide a clue as to why this is a vortex.
You guys want me to wait it out, or do you want me to turn it in?
UFO hotspots with 4 defining characteristics. 1.
Okay.
The area is considered sacred or hallowed, and is frequently marked with ancient monuments or shrines. 2. There is a detectable energy field in the area that differs from the surrounding countryside. 3. There is a history of ongoing and
He was on the wagon.
sightings or other anomalous experiences. And 4.
He was though.
There is always a military presence nearby. Pine Bush, New York is about 65 miles north.
There's a collectible over here.
Dr. Bruce Cornett is a PhD in geology who has been photographing and documenting strange aircraft in the skies here for over 16 years. Dr. Cornett's research leads him to believe the focal point for the phenomena is the Beth Hillel Cemetery on Route 52, approximately 3.5 miles southeast of Pine Bush. The area is believed to periodically generate magnetic pulses strong enough to cause airplane instruments to fail. Is this site a vortex? And is it responsible for the area's anomalous activity?
Get this card.
And it's this area where I got my start back in 1992. Discovered that this was an area of interest right in my own backyard.
How did you associate the possibility of increased magnetic readings or anomalous magnetic readings with the presence of UFOs?
This is a map
why.
from 1,800 stations of data that shows the geology of the region And if you notice, running up the center of it, there are a lot of these strange oval anomalies. And when you plot the activity in the valley in these yellow circles,
Or it was the little Barbie girl over there. What we're doing now next, guys? What are we doing?
The charts seem to show a direct correlation between areas of high magnetism and the appearance of strange lights and objects in the sky, including the many sightings of the 1981 to 1986 flap. This means that 2 of the 4 criteria for hotspots has been met. 1, the area is a highly anomalous magnetic region. 2, it has an ongoing history of unexplained phenomena.
I've had over 120 sightings or close encounters in this valley alone. And many times I've actually photographed or videotaped the event.
This extraordinary time-lapse photograph.
The last of summer will draw you in at Toyota's National Sales Event.
Yep, this is your training now because you want to leave. Now we're going to have a huge training.
Toyota Care. That's the value you can expect from Toyota. Toyota. Let's go places.
I don't want to fuck you, that's gay.
What is most intriguing is the funnel-shaped field of light the craft passes through.
Now I feel like I'm sexually violated right now. Sexually assaulted.
Able to travel to distant stars by creating vortices. This would take vast amounts of energy. Perhaps alien craft are drawn to certain places because they can tap into energy fields. Is this photograph the first evidence of a UFO receiving energy from one of Earth's vortexes? The team is in Pine Bush, New York, testing to see if the area meets the criteria that identify it as a UFO vortex.
My interest as a scientist was to document what do we actually have going on.
Where do you go?
On April 28, 1993, Dr. Cornett set up a camera and took this time-lapse photograph.
Ethan.
On first glance, it could be the lights of an airplane painting a line across the screen. But Dr. Cornett believes it's something else, something not of this world.
Yeah, just let him stay, man. Don't even care.
With an airplane, you're going to get the lights moving in a fairly straight path. There's not going to be any motion to the lights. There's not going to be
Don't even be sorry.
changes in direction of the lights. It's going to be pretty much predictable.
Nah.
So I discovered some very unusual things. The lights are...
I'm not sorry.
straight. They're looping.
In a time exposure, the shutter is left open for an extended period of time. Any moving light will paint a line on the film. A blinking light that's moving will show up as a string of dots. In this photograph, the light source was spinning in tight circles, a maneuver that no known aircraft can execute. Is this a UFO? As a trained scientist, Cornett has been meticulous in documenting each sighting, noting down time, place, duration, distance, and altitude. His extraordinary photographs appear to show lights flying too low to be conventional aircraft, executing impossible twists and turns, moving through energy fields, and appearing and disappearing.
I've shown these to people, and they said, well, you were bouncing the camera. Well, the camera was on a stable tripod and operated with an electronic shutter.
Stay mad, bitch.
There was no vibration in the camera.
I said stay mad, bitch.
You see here in the light is...
Stay mad, bitch.
Cornett uses a Minolta XG
Stay mad.
with an electronic shutter release and motor-driven film advance.
So what is my problem?
Tripod.
What did I do wrong?
Oriented.
What did I do wrong?
Depending on the nature of the object in the sky, the film is exposed from as
What
little
happened?
as 10 seconds to as long as 47 seconds.
He said, what's my problem? So I'm wondering what happened.
All of Bruce Cornett's pictures, and this one in particular is very interesting. It does show kind
What
of
is my problem, Ethan? I would like to know.
the UFO. This could be a vortex.
This extraordinary time-lapse photograph, taken on April 28, 1993, shows an illuminated object which appears as a line of light. While it's difficult to judge the size and speed of an object in the night sky, It appeared to be about the size of a fighter plane, moving at a relatively slow speed, between 30 and 45 miles per hour.
Oh shit, that's a good one. Alright.
Most intriguing is the strange funnel-shaped field of light the craft creates or transverses.
This is
Experts have come
the fucking UFO.
photograph has captured a UFO apparently
I know, right?
dissolving as it encounters a powerful energy field over Pine Bush.
Oh shit.
The presence of anomalous energies has been
That shit's funny. The size of the object and the speed. We determined it was pretty fast, and we determined it's going lightning fast like a flash of a light, like a blink of an eye. Right?
It looks like
it is.
Oscillation at this point. Something happened that made this image spread out and contract again.
Yeah.
Ethan Winters. Ethan Winters. Ethan Winters. Ethan Winters. I'm talking to you, Ethan. Ethan.
Pulse rate, then that sort of implies this one was.
I need to talk to you about it.
I'm really curious about it looks like.
I'm talking to you.
You're seeing something
Nigga.
from a still camera.
I hope you know you are a fucking cunt.
He's getting excited.
You little cocksucker.
Would occur if the camera was vibrating.
Ethan, I'm talking to you, you little cocksucker.
Blur of light, but it would be
You are a cocksucker.
appear to be the case here.
Because he's a little bitch.
Hammer the camera.
Yeah, I mean, that was my initial guess.
Imagine the field of
Because I want to.
up and down like this for a period of time.
Dope.
It's not a,
Go get that one.
I don't know how you get something like multiple light. It's sort of a bunch of parallel lights. You get a whole bunch of very fine filtry curves there. I don't know what that means, but at the very least we can say this is unusual, not expected. There's something strange going on. If it isn't in the airplane,
I'm not gonna get him.
According to weather records,
I got this one.
there were no strange weather anomalies. There were no thunder showers, lightning, or rain. There were no reports of commercial or military aircraft over the area. Further, there was no reported comet or meteor activity visible in the area.
The coordinate photo is one of the best pieces of evidence from a scientific standpoint that we've been able to collect around the concept of vortexes.
This strange distortion could be evidence of an unusual production pattern, the first criterion of hotspot correlation. The second criterion, continuing sightings and anomalous behavior, has been documented by Bruce Cornett's meticulous photographs. The Stewart Air National Guard base in Newburgh, New York, is 16 miles.
Why, can you hear some breathing?
The third UFO hotspot criterion.
My bad. I didn't even realize the mic was that close.
The final criteria is that it will be considered sacred or hallowed. This would seem to be a remote possibility.
Oh shit, that's funny.
Or is it? While some researchers cite the presence of a Jewish cemetery, there is another potentially sacred location just outside of town.
That's funny.
Continues to baffle UFO researchers. This quiet countryside seems a world away from the ancient monuments that dot the European landscape. But there are dozens of mysterious structures that suggest that some ancient people considered this land profoundly spiritual, hundreds, if not thousands of years ago.
In this area, there are a number of these standing stones with very ancient structures. And we are convinced that these structures date back to possibly as old as 2000 BC.
Enigmatic stone chambers and standing stones dot the valley. Historians debate fiercely who constructed these impressively designed buildings. It's been suggested that they are the work of Native Americans, but the Algonquins tended to build their structures from the plentiful timber in the valley. Others believe the chambers are root cellars, constructed by early European settlers. But a root cellar built above ground won't protect vegetables during the winter. Why were these chambers constructed? Philip and Brodno, author of Celtic Mysteries, believes that the chambers were built by ancient Celts who maintained a temporary colony in North America. Moreover, he believes the placement of the chambers proves the Celts were following a definite plan.
This area seems to attract thousands and thousands of UFO sightings, and he can't explain why, except to say that perhaps it's the organized magnetic lines of the Earth that are almost kind of a magnet for UFOs themselves, almost like a highway.
The chamber's alignment to the stars does seem to match the alignment of ancient monuments in England and Ireland, and stone structures and monoliths played an important role in Celtic religious beliefs. Although no two chambers are identical, they do share some characteristics. Most are rectangular, with an interior approximately 6 feet high. The chambers are from 10 to 15 feet deep and 6 to 7 feet wide. The walls are made from medium-sized stones, but the ceiling stones are usually 7 feet long and 1 to 2 feet thick and wide. Like Stonehenge, they seem to be aligned to the position of the setting sun during winter solstice.
What's the UFO connection?
The way I got interested into these chambers was because of my investigation about UFO. Thousands of people from all walks of life saw an enormous object in the sky. So I plotted the general UFO reports on a map, and I found out something interesting. They weren't scattered all over the place. They were concentrated in clusters. The first location we came to was in Lake Carmel, New York. And we're walking up the trail looking for something, and I come across an obelisk like this and a chamber. And I said, oh, that's interesting. Next location, another chamber.
Correlating with a cluster?
Yes. And the next one, and I said, after the third and fourth time, I said, this has got to be more than a coincidence. The location of these chambers and these stones has something to do with the idea of UFOs. There's a connection.
According to a UFO,
there's a connection.
Hudson Valley UFO sightings line up geographically with these enigmatic stone structures.
There seems to be a strong correlation between, if not the chambers themselves, the area where the chambers are located.
I lagged out.
These UFO sightings occur.
It's not just speculation.
Did you lag out too, Emily?
Correlation between the UFO
Did you lag out too?
Hudson Valley and the location of
I lagged out.
Hudson Valley.
Give me a rock star.
Arizona,
You and that other person.
All spots on the Earth's grid where energies form a vortex, and those vortexes are gateways. Possibly.
I know, I never done it too, and I wanted to experience it, I guess I can.
The team concludes the area around Pine Bush qualifies as a UFO vortex. When the next site, Stonehenge, is put to the test by the team, will it prove to be more than just a famous tourist attraction?
Very slowly, look at that. I did not do that.
Right.
Did its builders tap into a force that is still attracting something? Stonehenge is one of the most famous prehistoric sites in the world. 5,000 years ago, an unknown people began erecting massive stones and aligning them with the sun and stars. Stonehenge is believed to sit on the intersection of several ley lines, and the crisscrossing of these lines could theoretically produce a kind of vortex responsible for the area's long history of anomalous sightings.
Oh, is that right?
A consistent history of phenomena.
Killing an NPC.
The team instantly concludes that 2 of the 4 criteria for indicating
Connor boys
are fulfilled.
Is that right?
Salisbury Plain is the United Kingdom's largest military training area, with more than 12 military installations less than 20 miles from Stonehenge. In fact, during filming, the team, along with Stonehenge itself, was regularly rattled by the powerful sounds of nearby weapon testings. The 3rd criterion for a vortex has been met. The team still needs to determine whether the area also contains abnormal energy signatures. The famous standing stones are only a small part of the Stonehenge complex. The area is ringed with barrows, ancient burial mounds. The barrows are reported to rest on the same energy fields as Stonehenge, and also have sightings associated with them.
This is Kenneth Carson, who's providing us with the 1990 David Tickle footage of UFOs that were shot over the Barrow Mountains here at Stonehenge.
On and off, there's a manifestation of something up here in the sky. It could be a UFO, and it could be related to these Earth energies. But there's definitely a lot of activity. Things are happening there on that mound. It could well be related to the ley lines here and Earth energies.
May 7th, 1990, record producer David Tickle is taking a leisurely drive across Salisbury Plain on his way to Guildford. At 3 o'clock, he stops at Stonehenge and videotapes the standing stones and the barrows with an analog video recorder. To his amazement, the camera captures
this dude wanna go too? Okay.
White objects seem to be appearing and disappearing in the sky over an oval barrow. At the same time, several black objects on the top of the barrow blink in and out of existence, apparently in sync with the objects in the sky.
I think these objects could well follow the ley lines, because I mean, so close to the Stonehenge monument, over these barrows, it could well be a UFO, and these here could be Earth energy. You keep seeing things popping up and down the mounds, black things.
The objects in the sky could possibly be analog video artifacts, flaws that appear when an ultra-bright object overrides the circuitry and produces a false image. But that doesn't explain the dark images appearing on the mound, nor is there any explanation of why the dark balls are appearing and disappearing in time with the white objects.
Why is the UFO seeming to like wink in and out of existence? I don't understand.
This is
it appears and disappears and appears and disappears.
This is how these objects often operate. They seem to be dimension hoppers. They will go in and out of our reality.
You're saying that the UFOs aren't attracted to this area?
They can be. I have seen them attracted to these sites as well. But I've never seen this where...
You're so fucking lucky right now on that Lima.
On tape like that.
And why am I only carrying one fucking pistol, man?
Video evidence impressive.
What the fuck?
The quality of the analog tape calls the footage into question.
No, they're easy. I've been smacking the fuck out of them.
That this footage is indeed evidence of Earth energies and UFOs over Stonehenge.
UFOs seem to travel a long way.
I appreciate the offer,
along the energy grid, as if they're attracted to it. But in this
I go walk up towards them, and this dude started fighting me, so I fought him, and then they just started fucking want to pull up on me. I don't know.
Moving on to the famous standing stones at the center of the Stonehenge complex, the team meets with Maria Wheatley and Leslie Taylor.
As we have special access to the stones, let's go in and see if we can find a ley line.
The team is curious to see if they can trace intersecting lines of energy, which are said to lie under Stonehenge, with the ancient art of dowsing. Dowsers believe that when a sensitive person
I can't aim at his head for some reason.
Involuntary muscle movements occur. Handheld sticks or metal rods exaggerate the tiny movements and make them more visible. The dowsing rod has no intrinsic power of its own. It acts only as an indicator of forces being detected by the human body.
Yeah.
Ley lines are lines of force, and ancient sites such as Stonehenge were sited upon these lines. So if we stand just about here and I walk across the grass here, my rod should cross roughly about there and about 4 or 5 paces further on, and that's the width of the energy band coming in towards the altar stone. And the altar stone was over there. It was the central piece in the monument. And there we go. There's the first reaction. And there's the second reaction, which is perfectly in line with the heel stone. Would you like to go?
That's amazing. I'm sure.
Maria claims she has discovered one of the lines of energy running through Stonehenge. Pat attempts to duplicate her findings.
I'm walking. Seeing the thing. Didn't really go all the way this way. It's pointing that way now. I swear I'm not doing anything. I'm just walking very slowly. Look at that. Yeah, I did not do that. Look, I am not doing this.
Well done. Well done.
Well done.
Nah, I
really
need help.
did turn.
This dude is in defensive.
Both times. You know, I have to say I was really weirded out by it. I've never done it before, and I wasn't sure what to make of it. But it did turn, so there is something to it.
Ted wants to see if Maria and Pat are reacting to some form of magnetic field. The team retraces the path where the dowsing rods initially reacted, but this time, Ted scans the area with a handheld magnetometer, which will indicate the strength and direction of any magnetism.
They stop.
Zeros. Maybe it's not a magnetic field.
That's the obvious conclusion, that it's not a magnetic field.
Well, I'm killing the other person. I don't give a fuck. No.
Although the magnetometer showed no reading, both Maria and Pat detected lines of energy.
I don't see any magnetic effect going on here.
Ted decides to change one key element of the test to see whether the dowsing will still work. He is amazed at the results.
We should get out defensive mode soon.
Proof positive that some unknown force energizes the countryside around Stonehenge. Could this be the same unknown force that makes Sedona, Arizona a reported UFO hotspot? At Stonehenge, Pat and Maria use dowsing rods to discover a hidden line of force. To test whether Pat was subconsciously duplicating Maria's findings, Ted brings intern Jeff Tomlinson to the site.
I got these blueberries on me.
The same path. Jeff has been told nothing about ley lines or Maria and Pat's dowsing experiment.
Well, first he arrived to the site, and he had never been there. We blindfolded him, so he couldn't see where he was at the site. And guess what happened? It moved 3 times. We had 3 tests, so we did repeatability as well. I got pretty excited about that because, you know, I was a little skeptical this morning because we had a professional dowser. You know, there's a lot of bias in that, so I was looking for another measurement.
I got that defensive dude right there, Corvus.
Even blindfolded and having no prior knowledge of the area, Jeff's dowsing rod moved at the same place as Maria's and Pat's.
One more piece of bias that we have to be concerned about, and that's the idea that you can tip and tilt this and force it to go there or there. Yeah, so we developed this impromptu pendulum system, which basically hangs vertically straight to the ground. We removed Jeff's ability to turn his hand, and lo and behold,
alright,
it didn't work.
Thank you. This is basically the same rank as
we did
Evil.
6 times.
So when you eliminate
I'll go in God mode just to fuck him up because of it.
Is this proof that energy vortexes can be detected?
So does that mean that you, as a scientist, think that there may be something to the ley line?
Yeah, I killed one of them.
I'm meant to be an objective, scientific observer here and not be biased. I have to admit, after that first test we did, I was pretty excited.
We know that birds use the Earth's magnetic field to navigate when migrating. So the idea that people can also detect energy through a means not yet fully understood is plausible. The team feels their experiments here support the theory that the human body can detect Earth's energies.
Yeah, that's the problem with him. He won't get out defensive.
UFO vortex detection. But is it a vortex? The team returns to the U.S. to see if
Corvus can, but not me.
America, Sedona, Arizona, can meet the definition of UFO vortex as well. Sedona, Arizona, approximately 115 miles north of Phoenix, is famous for the spectacular mountains of red stone which ring the area. The color comes from a high concentration of iron, which some believe acts as a powerful conductor of magnetic and electrical energies. Could this be the explanation for Sedona's long history of inexplicable phenomena? The Sedona area has the highest per capita rate of UFO sighting in the United States, according to the team.
Sedona is one of the great UFO hotspots. It's got a lot of legend, Got a lot of history. People have come to Sedona specifically to climb places like Bell Rock and look at.
I bet this dude did not expect this shit of me bringing more
They
people.
say UFOs just kind of come out through the gate.
You know, he's like, oh, fuck.
Chris O'Brien, who has spent years compiling a database of local anomalous phenomena. O'Brien formulated the 4 criteria of UFO vortex areas.
そういう自分の持っている個性が伝えるかなって思う。自分のことを表現するのがスタイルになっていくんじゃないかなって思います。
Yeah, I know they're trash. The people are not in defensive are really easy to kill, but the defensive dude are that one defensive is the one I can't kill. I didn't need help with these 2 right here. It's only that defensive. I already said that.
Fireballs from green, orange, yellow, red, blue. They all seem to.
Yeah, we'll still kill them because they deserve it. I'm being honest with you.
One of the things that I did early on was get a composite map, an aeromagnetic map of the area. Delineates out field strength and Earth's magnetic field.
This U.S. Geological Survey map clearly shows the strengths of magnetic fields in the area. As shown by the key on the right, the highest readings are red, magenta, and pink. The strength of
Is he still in defensive quarters?
the Sedona Mountains can be up to 500 times that of the surrounding countryside.
You see clusters of UFOs around the
Exactly, actually scenes of them.
And you plot them on. Yeah, you plot them geographically in XY space on the map, and you're seeing from a completely separate data source, which is magnetic field data from the government, a correlation there.
O'Brien has used the 4 criteria of UFO hotspots while researching UFO reports in Sedona.
I tried to look at what commonalities were there from one area to the next area. And I found out 4 things. One, there appears to be some sort of geophysical...
No, do it, please.
Like the magnetic...
You don't even understand, Ethan. I need you.
Some sort of legends or just a sense of sacredness. There's sacred sites.
Till he leaves, then you can.
Been held in high esteem by
Because I gotta deal with this one too, and he's not even killing me.
There's some sort of nearby...
He's just lying on me, basically. But he deserves it.
And there seems to be a ongoing history of activity.
Nice.
The military's presence here is subtle but definite. Many people have spoken of encounters with khaki-uniformed soldiers who prevented them from entering certain sites. 10 years ago, the Forestry Service quietly purchased the Bradshaw Ranch, reputed to be the busiest location for anomalous sightings in the area. The land was immediately posted, and all visitors turned back by guards.
Hell yeah, bro.
Would a small, out-of-the-way ranch suddenly become a high-security area? Many residents believe that the Forestry Service is acting as a front for the military. To test the claim that the skies over Sedona are regularly home to unearthly visitors, Ted and Jeff set up a camera which will take photographs throughout the night. They train their sights on a mountainous area where activity is being constantly reported.
So Jeff, here we are just underneath Castle Rock.
Yeah, I know,
you can see it right here above us. So we got 2 camera systems set
He's
up.
a 38 rank, and he came up on me and punched the shit out of me. So I killed him. I punched him.
Time delay.
And then this defensive dude.
A lot of the testimony is from people who said they were observing UFOs, that they never saw them with the naked eye, but they were using camera equipment. And it's when they reviewed the video or the still after the fact that they saw it. I hope that by leaving this running overnight tonight, we'll capture an awful lot of time on both the video and the still, and we'll review it tomorrow, and maybe we'll get lucky and capture something.
The time-lapse camera is recording the night
sky. Keep killing him.
And the next morning brings a surprise. Is this a video of
You're welcome.
in the Sedona skies?
Well, if he stays with me over here, I can kill him.
To be one of the most active UFO encounter sites on Earth. Ted and Jeff have set up 2 cameras trained to the night sky in hopes of capturing an anomalous object.
I think we have pretty good odds of catching something.
The team meets a group of Sedona residents, each of whom claims to have witnessed either UFO or paranormal activity.
I saw a big flash, and I took a series of about 30 photos, and in that I could actually see like a red ball with a blue tail on it.
Do you feel like the energy is concentrated specifically around the various vortex areas, or is all Sedona?
I think it's stronger around the vortexes, but I think that when you're in Sedona, even if you're like not by a vortex, you can still feel the energy, in town.
This gigantic thing that was shaped around like this.
That fog really had to fucking come,
and I saw all
didn't
these
it?
lights, and then it just collapsed in on itself.
So I cannot see.
Is it possible that this Sedona witness saw a UFO event
I can't see.
similar to that captured by Dr. Bruce Cornett's camera over the Hudson Valley?
One time saw a big, huge black triangle, made no sound, and then all of a sudden just gone.
Some of the witnesses believe that the earth energy of the area is responsible for the mysterious light seen dancing in the Sedona Mountains.
I saw 2 crimson orbs of light, spheres. They were about 50 feet across, and these things were alive.
Over the past few years, with digital camera use more widespread, Sedona is quickly being revealed as home to far more anomalous sightings than had been suspected.
You can't see things with the naked eye, and you have a camera set up. And then
No, it's only that red dude.
You're seeing images that
I got them left. It's just that red dude that you fighting with.
When we look at the range of experiences that we've had, it's overwhelming. This is more than a hotspot. It's as if whatever makes Sedona Sedona, it is clearly some kind of an interdimensional gateway.
Is he still in God mode? I'm not God mode and defensive.
There are strong magnetic fields in the area, which fulfill Chris O'Brien's first criterion for vortexes. Thousands of witnesses of strange phenomena prove the second requirement.
Okay.
The native people believed Sedona was sacred, and tens of thousands of pilgrims to the area attest that the belief is still alive. And the cryptic actions of the military in supposedly acquiring the Bradshaw Ranch fulfill O'Brien's fourth criterion for vortexes. But if Sedona is a UFO vortex, did the team's overnight camera capture any proof? It is overly optimistic to expect to capture a UFO with only one night of filming. But when they examine the tape the next morning, Ted and Jeff realize they've captured several faint anomalies.
Oh, what the fuck?
To move across the frame.
It was in my fucking marker.
Ted concludes.
Come and help me with this dude.
Plane in the distance, nothing more. This sighting can be explained, but how about the 120 reports of sightings in Arizona filed with the National UFO Research Council in the past year?
Sedona does seem to be, a hotspot, if you will, of this kind of activity or sightings, let's just say. There are statistically many more testimonial evidence here in Sedona than there are elsewhere. So we know that, and that's fact.
Yeah, I need your help with this, dude.
What we don't know far outweighs what we do know, meaning that we don't really have a full understanding of the universe yet. And I know that our knowledge of the planet is still pretty much in its infancy.
I think we lent a certain amount of credibility to that concept that perhaps there are these sort of conductive pathways that lead to certain points on the surface that could bring more current or more electricity to the surface at various positions that may or may not coincide with these vortexes or gateway conditions.
We found a lot, and what we found really comported with everything
that didn't even work
scientifically so far, and yet there's so much more we don't know that we can't discount it.
There could be forces that we have yet to discover that we don't presently recognize.
For every single claim about UFOs or paranormal events occurring,
don't tell me this bit. Oh,
was real.
Running at the wrong person.
What energies are in this quote-unquote world grid are something that are unmeasurable by scientific instruments, and they're only measurable.
Well, I'm gonna go teleport again, God mode.
The Earth contains dozens of sites associated with strange phenomena and inexplicable experiences.
You wanna cheat? I can cheat too.
In science and technology, all we're often left with is the same sense of awe and wonder our ancestors felt when they too came face to face with the unknown. But in the cases of these UFO hotspots and vortexes, we might be one step closer to the truth if these criteria can not only explain areas of high activity, but predict future sightings. After a worldwide search, we can guess why a UFO might visit these areas. But even so, one question remains. If they are real, what do they want?
The best nutrients for their best life. Science did that.
Earth, a 4.5 billion-year-old planet, still evolving. As continents shift and clash, volcanoes erupt, and glaciers grow and recede, the Earth's crust is carved in numerous and fascinating ways, leaving a trail of geological mysteries behind. In this episode, an investigation into California's San Andreas Fault.
I don't like to be defensive if you do a glitch, so I need to do a glitch too.
Long, this ugly scar on the landscape has spawned earthquake after earthquake. But for now, it waits quietly, deep under our cities, building up stress to strike once again. The San Andreas Fault is one of the most dangerous geological features on Earth. California's greatest cities and millions of her citizens.
Fucking stupid ass fast travel. You made me read what the fuck you were saying.
Since records began, there have been 13 large earthquakes along the San Andreas Fault.
Why? What happened?
And now, America's geologists, her rock detectives, are warning of a potential disaster.
The major damage has been done.
In the fall of 2008, more than 300 scientists calculated what a major earthquake would do to Southern California.
We've been conducting a special study of a magnitude 7.8 earthquake on the southern San Andreas Fault, large enough to potentially damage tall buildings. Fire will be very significant.
The definitive scientific report presented to politicians was codenamed Shakeout. It forecast thousands of deaths and billions of dollars of damage in the city of Los Angeles, which makes it crucial to investigate the most important question. When will the next big earthquake hit
Who's fast
San
traveling?
Andreas Fault?
What the fuck?
The latest preparations for disaster are the climax of an investigation that
and he's here.
100 years ago.
He's at Emerald.
The Great San Francisco earthquake of 1906. The earthquake struck on a Wednesday, just before dawn. The ground shook violently for 45 seconds, igniting fires that raged unchecked for the next 4 days. $28,000 buildings, a tenth of the entire city, were destroyed, and more than 3,000 people, one in every 100 were killed. With a magnitude of 7.8, it's been the
Come to Emerald Corvus.
North America's strongest ever earthquakes.
That defensive is here.
The scale of the Great San Francisco earthquake shocked the nation. But no one understood what had made the city shake. Native American myths explained earthquakes as shocks from a battle between warring spirits. Latter-day explorers couldn't understand the shocks that destroyed their mission buildings. One Spanish missionary wrote, "The earth shook around me from explosions under the ground."
He's over here at Emerald.
300 years later,
yeah, he's still here.
Still made little progress. Refugees in the ruins
You gotta
of San
distract
Francisco
him.
still blamed earthquakes on mysterious
Don't
underground
go up to
explosions.
you with your horse. You can't be close.
So, just 3 days after the earthquake, the state of California
he was
asked
just
one of the
there.
world's most famous geologists, Andrew Lawson from California State University, to investigate what had destroyed the city.
He was. He's
He
getting
and a
too
team
far.
of 25 scientists began collecting damage evidence in the city and surrounding countryside. There were roads that had buckled, rail tracks that had twisted. The most startling evidence of all,
Yeah, run over there, not with your fucking body, but with your horse.
San Francisco. This picket fence had an 8-foot gap in the middle. Before the earthquake, it was a solid boundary fence dividing 2 fields. But when it was created, what had happened? Lawson realized that the land had jolted apart and torn the fence in 2.
All I know, he was like around this area, or around there, I meant to
Plotting
say.
the evidence on a map around San Francisco revealed a surprising pattern. Because connecting the dots drew a straight line. And at every point, the Earth moved in the same way. On the coast to the north, inland to the south. This line of weakness was the culprit they were searching for. South of San Francisco, the suspect line ran underneath a lake. The Laguna
Is he at
de San
Blackwater?
Andreas. So now, the earthquake perpetrator
check out
at
Blackwater.
last had a name. Professor Lawson, who a decade earlier had identified cracks in the earth here as a harmless rift, now rechristened it the San Andreas Fault. In modern-day San Francisco, the buildings, the roads, and the railways have long since been repaired. But if you know where to look, evidence of the 1906 quake can still be found. Geologist Charlie Paul follows in the footsteps of Lawson's team, seeking signs of the havoc from 1906. He finds it on the cliffs at Muscle Rock, 12 miles south of San Francisco.
The cliff is not here by accident. There's a very good reason why this cliff is here. Half a mile or so of the shore face apparently fell off in the 1906 earthquake. And if you look down below us, there's a big rotated block that's near the present-day shoreline. And it is just inboard of the San Andreas Fault. The San Andreas Fault is about a quarter of a mile offshore here. And of course, that's one of the major crustal junctions on this side of North America.
Modern computers can now trace how damage waves
Stay by the
spread
camp,
out
I
across
guess.
the city.
He is still here.
Where the quake originated along the San Andreas.
There's that one.
It was offshore, about 2 miles out to sea from the Golden Gate Bridge. So, to continue tracking the fault, the investigation must head out to sea. Marine geologists use remote operating vehicles, mini submarines, to map the seafloor.
What you would see is subtle variations in the topography, or topography that would not knack.
The first ever Mazda CX-90.
You're fine. He'll come back.
On one side, and you can use various techniques to determine that this actually is a fault instead of some other process.
Running south across the seabed, the San Andreas finally runs out of ocean and hits the land. This broken line of rock stretching in from the sea marks where the San Andreas hits land 12 miles south.
San Andreas.
We're here at Muscle Rock, and we're essentially standing on the San Andreas Fault right now. And if there was an earthquake, I don't know what would happen right here, but I wouldn't want to be here.
This Pacific coastline.
It's not working. It's not bringing me at my camp anymore.
is the boundary between two of the Earth's massive continental plates.
It says this is not an open campsite, closing at
Separated by the
2-step
San Andreas
count.
Fault, two vast separate blocks of the Earth's crust lie directly
he's right
alongside each other.
Kill him!
Here, the continent
No, that's the
of
wrong
North
one.
America lies slightly on top of the adjacent section of crust which holds the Pacific Ocean. The join can be seen where these lower, darker rocks are overlaid by light-colored sedimentary rocks.
These rock types differ by more than 100 million years in age. Two rock bodies that are not similar in any way have been brought together.
IEX or some shit like
was
that.
exposed to geologists when the cliffs collapsed here
I
in the
knew it.
1906 earthquake. But back then, nobody understood how and why the two different types of rock were next to each other. Until around 40 years ago, when the answer was finally revealed by the theory of plate tectonics. The theory showed that the Earth's crust consists of separate moving plates on which the oceans and continents sit. Around 200 million years ago, the heavy Pacific Ocean plate collided with North America and started sinking underneath the lighter continent. Professor of Geophysics Mark Zuber studies that process, called subduction, in his laboratory at Stanford University.
For many millions of years prior to the existence of the San Andreas Fault, the Pacific Plate was subducting beneath North America. The oceanic plate was diving down, and that process went on for, well over 100 million years. So a tremendous amount of activity was occurring.
As the unstoppable force of one plate met the immovable object of the other, they were forced to change direction.
About 20 million years ago, the plate motions were such that the Pacific Plate had to start sliding north with respect to North America. And now, you know, the principal motion is this sliding process between the two plates.
I'm gonna go in the kitchen and see if there's any type of snack.
It was the
Oh, is that right? Do I sound like a robot? No? No way. Yo. Can y'all hear me? Am I lagging? I'm surprised. Alright. Now I am. What about now? Oh, that's good. Let me know when it lags again, I guess. So I am still in the kitchen. Do I like bagging when I'm in the kitchen? I do. Surprise. What's shit? There's no good food. And I'm starving. Nice, that's what I'm talking about. Willis. Are you sure you didn't? Because it sounded like you left. Oh damn. Oh hi birdies. Did it hurt? Did it hurt like an anal corn dog? What the fuck? How do you know how anal feels like? Because I don't. Did you throw like out? Oh, nice. Someone's next to me. Oh, I'm starving.
There's a great angle.
And there's no good food.
Offset channel with the elbow in it right there. That's a classic one right there.
Hudnut's aerial view of the creek bed shows that the river once flowed straight on across the fault. But little by little, a series of earthquakes along the San Andreas dragged the creek away from its original course. Recreating how the land had moved showed Hudnut that the two parts of the creek had traveled more than 300 feet apart.
Damn.
So if you imagine the North American plate is fixed and the Pacific plate is moving to the northwest, The Wallace Creek site records that offset because the channel is straight across the fault, but it's been offset through time.
Earlier investigators had already radiocarbon dated the land on each side of the fault here, revealing that it took 3,000 years to change the creek's position.
Brutus. Come on.
So, knowing the distance and the time it took to do it, let's Hudnut calculate the average speed with which the two land masses are moving past each other. 300 feet in 3,000 years. 1 foot per decade. Just over an inch a year. But this was never a steady, sliding, 1 inch a year movement. The reality was a series of sudden, small jumps whenever tension built up enough between the two moving plates to overcome friction between the rocks and rip the land apart with an earthquake. It's an important moment for the investigation. Knowing how fast the land is moving not only reveals the stress that's building up, but also the risk of an earthquake. The San Andreas Fault is giving up its secrets. Clues from a long dried up pond reveal the site of ancient earthquakes. Carbon from a prehistoric fire provides the dates. And bends in a riverbed prove how fast the plates are moving along the San Andreas. But now the investigation has a new mystery to solve.
He's here at Emerald.
If the land along the San Andreas is moving 1 inch every year, causing earthquakes, then why has one small town along the fault line never had any? The investigation has discovered how fast the land is stretching and straining along each side of the San Andreas Fault. Which
I ain't gonna move.
When that ever-increasing stress will snap the land apart in the next major earthquake. But there's a problem. One part of the fault line just doesn't fit the pattern.
No, let him kill us. I really don't give a fuck.
The small town of Hollister is unique along the San
I'm just
Andreas
dealing
fault
with no defensive bitch ass
never had an
niggas.
earthquake. And the investigation is going to find out why.
Yeah, I'm gonna camp closer.
Hollister has a population of 37,000. And nothing here is quite the way it should be.
Because it hasn't activated.
There are plenty of clues suggesting that the land must be moving here. Sidewalks with cracks in.
It's already at Heartlands.
And walls that are bent out of shape.
Walking through Hollister, we can see anything that man has built that was laid out in a straight line may have a jog in it. Every year it changes a little bit, and it's a progressive thing.
The clues add up to one clear conclusion. Even without any earthquakes, the earth in this town, in the heart of the San Andreas system, still slides imperceptibly slowly and effortlessly along.
In one sense, the damage that you see here associated with the creeping is clearly sort of under control. But as a geologist, if you start playing that out for tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of years, the consequences of that become enormous.
For many years, the creeping ground that moved without earthquakes remained an unsolved mystery. But then, the investigation moved 100 miles south to another small community where the land also creeps along. The village of has a population of just 37 people and a bridge which spans right across the San Andreas Fault. The bridge separates the Pacific Plate on one side from the North American Plate on the other. And the bridge railings have started to bend.
I'm right now on the Pacific Plate on the west side of the San Andreas Fault. And, you know, The San Andreas comes off the flank of that hill and right across that field, right under the bridge, and then right over by the corner of that building or that fence post, and then on off to Middle Mountain.
The movement here around the bridge is strikingly similar to the slow creeping ground of Hollister. But there is one important difference here in Parkfield. Every couple of decades or so, this village does have earthquakes. They're just little tremors, but they're big enough to be recorded on earthquake monitoring seismographs.
The first ever Mazda CX-90.
I'm coming in fast. First place, you coming in last. I'm in that gas. I'm in that loud. Got motion. We causing a commotion. I put it in.
I broke his ankle. It wasn't even funny. He tried through a stick TNT thinking I was AFK, and so I darted it, and then the TNT made me fling a little bit, so I got up, and then the bitch walked up slowly, so I was like running around zigzags. She was trying to shoot her flame rounds, and I still dodged it. Then she was sniping me, and every time I hit, I kept on drinking tonic after tonic after tonic.
So scientists are desperate for any clue that might help predict when an earthquake could happen. And here in Parkfield, the earthquakes happen with astonishing regularity. On average, every couple
367 ads being that shit.
Minor quakes happened here in 1857, 1881, 1901, 1922, 1934, and 1966. After the 66 earthquake, investigators set up a network of monitoring instruments to see if the fault gave any warning before the next earthquake arrived. They expected it sometime between 1988 and 1993, but it was late, and months of waiting stretched into years. But still, the scientists waited. Until finally, in December 2004, the long-awaited earthquake arrived and was caught on film from a now slightly worn and damaged camera. The earthquake movie may not have seemed that impressive, but the instruments collected a mass of information. The data didn't, after all, help with earthquake prediction, but it did pinpoint where the earthquake started underground, which told investigators where to look next. Deep down under the Parkfield countryside. Starting slightly to one side of the fault, the aim was to angle in and stab into the very heart of the San Andreas. After 3 years of drilling, long cores of rock were extracted from the exact spot where the earthquake occurred. This was the first time that team leader geologist Mark Zobak had ever seen rocks from the center of the San Andreas.
What we're looking at here are cores from the active San Andreas fault from a depth of about 2 miles. So for the earth science community, these are like moon rocks. As we were trying to exhume these cores,
I made some son of a guns too.
Drilling difficulty. The San Andreas fault was literally fighting back.
Should get some of my son of a guns too.
Attempting to recover the cores in the middle of
that shit's fire.
Lightning storm, almost a scene
son of a gun.
With the thunder and lightning, these cores came to the surface, and so it was a tremendous feeling of satisfaction. The lightning and thunder just made it that much more dramatic.
Are you gonna fight that defensive mode, dude? Understandable. Yeah, that's understandable, man. Relatable. It is. Your knees are rank, that's accurate. It's really not. Like, I don't even understand you now. Do you? I made a case of Have you eaten? So have you eaten? Yeah. Oh, nice. What the fuck? Everything is getting fucking moldy. Oh. There goes my idea of what I wanted to do. Seems like I'm really not gonna eat. I was trying to make me a quesadilla, but seems like not. I might keep cutting out. So, do you like when I cut out? I feel like you kinda do. Oh, is that right? Oh man. Damn it. I don't think it's my highness though. Bro. Yeah. Okay, at least 6 or 7 bowls.
But there are many things we can predict. We can predict which faults are likely to produce the big earthquakes.
Yeah, and some strong wheat too is 34%.
And we can even predict the probability of the earthquake occurrence over some period of several decades.
Predictions are most crucial where the San Andreas runs to the south of LA. Here in the Coachella Valley Desert, geological evidence of earthquakes stretches back 1,500 years and more. And they follow a regular pattern. Major earthquakes strike here with monotonous regularity every 200 years. But the latest one is long overdue. There hasn't been an earthquake here for more than 300 years. That's a concern, because parts of the San Andreas fault system run straight from here towards the city of Los Angeles. The faults will transmit earthquake shocks in a straight line towards California's biggest city. Geologist Yuri Fialko regularly monitors how
Where's Ethan?
on either side of the fault line.
Oh, I forgot.
He lines up his GPS equipment precisely over a series of metal pegs fixed into.
Come here, Brutus.
Wherever you are, be there with Starbucks ready-to-drink coffee.
Sluggish? Recover. Rockstar recovery.
This information is crucial for estimating how fast the fault slips at depths and what is the rate of accumulation of strain in the crust. In other words, how close the crust is brought to failure by slip of the fault at depths.
The repeated ultra-precise measurements reveal that land here, on the surface, hardly moves at all. This is a problem, because deep underground, the stresses and strains are still building up.
The fault is moving at depths at a fairly high speed, and this deformation is growing and growing and growing with time.
miles underground, deep fault is moving at more than an inch a year. Which tells Fialco that in the centuries since the last quake, the surface should have shifted 300 inches, 25 feet or more. But it hasn't. So sooner or later, something's gotta give. Fialco knows what that something.
It's crazy how food gets moldy fast, dude.
The rocks themselves.
It fucking is.
And,
it wasn't even in the fridge like a week and a half or less than that. It's already fucking moldy. Which is insane. I'm fucking starving. Guess we have no food when you go grocery shopping. You know? The only food I can make is fucking homemade food, like homemade. Big ass homemade food, you know? Yeah. It is, but it's too late. It's early. Come on. You ain't wrong on that.
This is a fault that is capable of generating great destructive earthquakes.
Lay down. Lay down. Good boy. Surprised this dude haven't found my camp.
When the last huge quake occurred 300 years ago, Los Angeles was just a tiny Spanish mission community with fewer than 100 people.
Normally he's good at finding us.
Second largest city, with almost 11 million people living in the earthquake vulnerable metropolitan area.
People who live in California probably experience small or moderate-sized earthquake every year. Few things moving in your house, but it's really actually kind of fun. There's no major destruction. People just go on with their life. Much bigger events, on the other hand, are quite a bit different story.
With the threat to Los Angeles becoming ever clearer, the investigation is nearing its conclusion. Data from repeated GPS measurements in the desert reveal evidence that stress is building up. While examination of the rocks of the crust show they may not take the strain for much longer. All the evidence points towards a potentially huge earthquake building up in Southern California. And new experiments suggest the coming quake could be far worse than anyone ever imagined. There is new urgency in the investigation into the San Andreas Fault, as revealed by recent evidence compiled by 300 of America's most respected scientists. They warned that Los Angeles would be devastated.
You heard that, bro? 300 most respected scientists.
While there hasn't been a major quake for hundreds of years,
in Hollywood,
can still be deadly. The Northridge earthquake, which struck this LA suburb in 1994.
Right. Must be really popular for calling a popular pace, I meant to say.
San Andreas Fault. The quake was only a magnitude 6.7, considered moderate on the scale of earthquake measurement. But it still killed 72 people and injured 12,000 more.
God damn.
And new evidence suggests Mother Nature might have a lot more in store for Los Angeles.
God damn it. And that's where Ethan lives. He lives in Cali.
Scientists have long known that earthquakes generate several distinct sets of waves. The travel at different speeds, each spreading damage and destruction out from the epicenter. Modern city buildings in earthquake-prone areas like California are engineered to cope with such waves. Now, new research by geophysicist Professor Aris Razakis suggests that the San Andreas may offer a new and even more deadly threat. Razakis researches how earthquakes rupture along straight-line faults, just like the San Andreas, where it approaches Los Angeles. He creates his own mini-earthquakes, representing the San Andreas Fault by a hairline crack in a thick, transparent block. This special material shows up internal stress lines when it's lit by a laser. And the earthquake is triggered by a tiny explosion.
3, 2, 1, 0. The node has dropped. And the explosion was big enough that we even have a crack.
An ultra-high
I know, right? I don't even understand it.
Reveals a startling and newly discovered phenomenon.
What the fuck?
This frozen picture.
They later showed it. The string was damaged.
San Andreas in the milliseconds after the explosion. The cone to the left of this frame is a previously unrecognized type of shockwave racing along the rupture line from the earthquake's center. On a microscopic scale, it looks and moves exactly like the sonic boom produced when a supersonic aircraft such as Concorde breaks the sound barrier.
Because we also see map cones, lines that are emitted from the rupture tips as from the tips of moving airplanes.
And just like a sonic boom.
It is, honestly. It doesn't make sense.
In the same sense that we hear the sonic boom from the Concorde.
It's like, how do you figure that shit out? I can't even figure that out.
The danger comes because many high-rises just aren't built to cope with extra stress from this newly discovered type of shockwave.
So if you are an old building, for example,
Yeah, only scientists can.
you'll take one way.
Maybe they're hired from the government.
Some damage, and very soon after that, you get very strong ground shaking because of heart attack coming closer.
The high-speed ruptures that Razakis calls supershear happen where faults run in a straight line, which might help explain a 100-year-old mystery surrounding the Great San Francisco Quake, a natural disaster which launched the entire San Andreas investigation. The overwhelming damage in San Francisco has long seemed surprising.
I know, right?
To the 7.8 magnitude.
San Andreas.
And there's a particularly straight section of the San Andreas approaching San Francisco. So many scientists now believe that
San Andreas.
than expected because the 1906 quake had traveled at super shear speed.
They're like, yeah, I didn't say it again.
Services is not what
Oh
happened
shit.
but what could happen tomorrow. Because there is a similar straight section of faulted ground heading straight towards Los Angeles. And if a super shear earthquake develops on that line,
Los Angeles, San Andreas.
disastrous. All of the investigation's warnings about the San Andreas came to
San Andreas.
2008 with the biggest earthquake drill ever held in California.
If this earthquake would have happened in reality, it would have been buildings coming down. We know that there would be no water.
Oh, and that's Arnold Schwarzenegger.
So that's what this exercise is all about.
But what are the real chances of Los Angeles soon being hit by a massive earthquake?
Yeah, a whole different name. Just
The best
wow.
scientific consensus now warns that there's a 99% chance of a major quake in Southern California within the next 30 years.
Dude, you should hear this shit. This is for your
To
hometown.
understand the threat to LA, the geologists produced their study jointly with experts in charge of the city's disaster plan. And none of them doubt that the big quake is coming.
It really isn't even a question of if anymore. The shaking is going to be severe for 2 to 3 minutes. And then
yeah.
Stop. And then you had that moment of silence that often happens.
Hell yeah, bro.
Before you start hearing the car alarms and all those other sounds that you have in a disaster like this.
The study estimates that a major earthquake in the LA metro area would cause 2,000 deaths, 50,000 injuries, and $200 billion of damage.
Yeah.
You're going to have conflagrations developing. Tens of blocks
Right.
will be on fire.
The water lines have ruptured. There is no water coming out of the fire hydrant.
That's the kind of
They were talking about that one too. Not gonna lie. And they keep talking about San Andreas.
Disaster to California's people and cities motivates the search to unravel the secret of the San Andreas Fault.
Let's see San Andreas.
All the evidence is finally in. The damage reports from the 1906 disaster show the fault's 800-mile path. The different types of rock at Muscle Rock provide clues to how the fault was created 20 million years ago.
Hey, he's looking for us.
Prove how fast the land is moving.
I know, right?
The mineral talc explains why some parts slip without major quakes.
Right.
The brittle granite rocks reveal a threat to Los Angeles. And recent lab experiments uncover new and more dangerous earthquake shock waves. But one goal has eluded the rock detectives who study the greatest fault line on Earth.
Well, that's what they've been talking about.
Will the sleeping San Andreas come to life once again?
Right.
It could be any time. The only certainty is that nothing is certain in the ever-evolving story of how the Earth was made. Earth.
Lucky.
A 4.5 billion-year-old planet, still evolving.
Fucking hungry.
As continents shift and clash, volcanoes erupt.
I might eat a block of cheese.
The Earth's crust is carved in numerous and
I was in the broadcasting.
leaving a trail of geological
I forgot about it.